Island to go to state. He also plays basketball, and he plans to attend Phoenix College. Our next senior is Tyler Townsend, number 9, an outfielder. He has played Norwegian baseball for 4 years. He's accompanied by Tim and Tanya Townsend. He wants to thank all of his teammates. Tyler loves to fish. He plans on going to Ottawa College University in Surprise, Arizona. And a fun fact about Tyler, when Tyler was 5 years old, he ate a handful of floating catfish food while heading to feed the catfish at our family's pond. Our next senior is Caden Matthew Johnson, number 2, center fielder. Played 5 years, accompanied by Brett and Kim Johnson. Thank you to everyone that has helped and supported me in my baseball over the years, from Vipers to Legion. Favorite baseball memory, beating GIM districts last year and going to state. Wants to thank all of his teammates. He does football, basketball, and track. He is attending Phoenix College to pursue a degree in finance. He has a weird nickname that stuck over the years in baseball, and it's Womp. Our next senior, Easton Geisler, number 15. He is a pitcher and catcher. He has played for 5 years. Fallon and Brett Geisler are accompanying them. His favorite memory is making it to state last year. Easton loves to hunt. He will be attending Mitchell Tech College for lineman school. He made a bet with his uncle to have a handlebar mustache by his senior year. How's that mustache coming? Our next senior is London Greeno, number 22, first base and pitcher. He's played for 3 years. He's accompanied by Leah Greeno. He would like to thank his mom for everything she has done for him throughout his baseball career. His favorite memory is laying down a squeeze bunt to score the go-ahead run against Kearney. He's also football, National Honor Society, FFA, and FCA. He is so decided on playing baseball at Western Community College. Fun little fact about Landon, his right arm is longer than his left arm due to fracture in his growth plate in his wrist. And our last senior, Michael McFadden, number 10, second base. He has played 1 year. He is being accompanied by Cody McFadden. He wants to thank all of his teammates for being so comforting and welcoming to North Platte baseball. His favorite memory is College World Series tournament. He also plays basketball and football. He plans on going into ministry. And fun fact about Michael, he has lived in 4 states. Let's hear it for our seniors one more time.
Welcome in, everybody. Here, Bill Woodfield, FM 98.1, AM 1410, Paxton Gordon here. It's time. It is time for some American Legion baseball. As Great Plains Health post 163 take on Wesco and the Zephyrs in some baseball action. Today, Scottsbluff is the opponent that North Platte will be playing today, and things were looking up for this Great Plains team. Of course, last time we saw them here on FM 98.1, AM 1410, they just took down Grand Island USAVE in a doubleheader, and we're looking to go into next Friday's tournament against Kearney. Well, in the Kearney tournament, going 5-0, but unfortunately yesterday it all came to a screeching halt after winning 4 of their last 4 games. They go against Broken Bow and losing that one 5-4, and now look to bounce back here against a team that many people, of course, going into the season we're thinking we're going to be an easy team to conquer in Scottsbluff, but this season, Scottsbluff has really been turning some heads. They're close to 500. They're 12-13 on the season. They're coming off of a couple of, let's check a look here, wins against Shadron as well as Alliance over the days. And then Platte Valley Companies, they took down 9-2 last Tuesday. So they've had a little bit of time off before they play North Platte here today. But this isn't the same Scottsbluff squad we've seen over the years that were, you hate to say quote-unquote easy wins, but were pretty much a cakewalk for Great Plains Health the last time these two teams faced off last year. But this year, whole different lineup and a whole different attitude the Scottsbluff team is coming into. They're a team that is to be feared, and for Great Plains Health, they're looking to not only come away with the victories today to get set up for tomorrow's and really this entire week's craziness, with Kearney tomorrow, potentially Hastings on Tuesday, potentially Grand Island on Wednesday. Then heading into that Kearney tournament, they're really going to need to, I hate to say, get things rocking and rolling, but need to continue that really good pace they went into going into that Broken Bow game yesterday before they ultimately came away with a loss. Quick Stop pregame show, 27 locations open 24 hours a day. Quick Stop, always open right around the corner. Again, our game records brought to you in part by State Farm agent Bobby Holst. She'll be the agent you wish to call today. Get all of your insurance needs covered. Again, Scottsbluff coming into today's game. They are 12-13. North Platte currently 12-17. So here's how things are going to look. Of course, tomorrow is supposed to be, if you look on the schedule, of course, the game versus Alliance. That game essentially has been canceled on the Alliance side, but pretty much a little bit of some good fortune there for North Platte, as due to how the district is currently shaping up to be for North Platte, they need to continue to get these victories. So they'll be playing Kearney tomorrow, and if they defeat Kearney tomorrow, then they'll have a game against Hastings on Tuesday. Okay, and then that keeps just solidifying how the conference is going to go going into districts, which is not next week, but the week after that. So if they defeat Kearney, they take on Hastings on Tuesday. All right, then if they defeat Hastings on Tuesday, then they will then be facing off against Grand Island, if I remember correctly, in Grand Island, to then go into then that Kearney tournament on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So all these games that could potentially be played starting on Monday are all due to the Husker Conference. So they need to get these wins starting today against Scottsbluff to get back on their momentum train so they can then take on that Kearney squad tomorrow, so they could potentially keep playing some more games into the week. So that then just keeps begging the question of, boy, when are the Arms going to get a little bit of rest? Because if you think about it, that's just a couple more extra games that they officially weren't really planning on. Great Plains Health was. They were, well, you hate to always say they were planning on, but in terms of the overall schedule, weren't really piecing together some of these games that are now potentially on the docket for tomorrow, Tuesday, and potentially Wednesday. But, of course, you got to take it one step at a time and get through the games that are in front of you. And that currently right now is, of course, Scottsbluff and the Zephyrs. We're just a couple minutes away here from first pitch, as always, on FM 98.1, AM 1410. So we step aside and we come back here, get you the starting lineups and so much more on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back, everybody. Here, Bill Woodfield, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Of course, live stream at NorthPlattePost.com. Our Coleman night here today, and we get some baseball going on between Scottsbluff and, of course, West Coast Zephyrs taking on Great Plains Health Post 163. It's also senior night. Oh, boy, man, can you believe that? It's already senior night, man. It just feels like we just got the season started yesterday, and yet here we are once again into senior night, which means we're almost about to say goodbye to the next crop of wonderful men. But, I hate to say unfortunately, but more importantly, have more games going, not just today, tomorrow, and potentially Tuesday, Thursday, and guaranteed Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So why not then jump into our Double Dips Ice Creamery starting lineup. Double Dips Ice Creamery in the historic Canteen District of North Platte offers 24-plus different flavors of hand-dipped ice cream served in a variety of ways. Double Dips also offers homemade waffle cones and bowls alongside homemade fudge and freshly baked desserts. Hey, plus they have also available the ice cream trailer for all your outdoor events because it is the summertime and we all know it's time for you to get the ice cream trailer out and bring bring the wonders of ice cream to either you be your event, party, whatever you need it for. We'll start on the side of Scottsbluff and the West Coast Zephyrs with Eric Sabala, who will be on the mound today for the Zephyrs. He'll be leading off with Oscar Felix at shortstop, George Schmall in left field, Blake Krasmick at third base, Thatcher Thamala in right field, Caleb Berta in center field, Dustin Rector at first base, Owen Latham at second, then Dawson Barron be catching today for Scottsbluff. As for Great Plains Health Post 163, the senior Mike McFadden leading off in right field with Ty Handelborg at shortstop. Senior Caden Johnson at center field as always with senior Landon Garino at first base. Senior Easton Jones at third base. Dean McIntyre catching. Connor Stifler on the mound, the designated hitter today. Senior Easton Geisler. Tyler Towns in the left field, and Jacoby Silos not hitting but will be defensively at second base today for Great Plains Health Post 163. The undefeated streak during this last week unfortunately came to an end yesterday against Broken Bow, but they can start another one here today. So we'll start again hopefully here today because got a couple of big important matchups coming tomorrow and the rest of the week. It doesn't seem like it's ever coming to an end, the tough matchups. You know, you'd expect every once in a while to be an easy little softball out there for everybody, even for all of us up here in the booth. But nope, we're just going to have some hard-earned matches coming up for the rest of this week. Yes, I have to be that guy because, yes, I'm on severe weather duty. So there potentially is a potential chance that there might be a severe thunderstorm strolling through the area tonight around 9 o'clock. I'm just doing my job. As a severe weather guy this week, I have to do my legally obligated job and to let people know what is going on. So, so we'll get through it, and now we're ready to finally play some baseball. You can blame it on the good old-fashioned Marshall. He likes to take his time, but I don't blame him. I'd take my time too if he had to sit down in that heat and all that black and gray. I'm telling you, you can look at me, but it was a bit toasty as I come walking in with a sweatshirt. But it's getting senior night tonight as well as Larry Coleman night, so a lot of great things going on. And are you guys ready for some baseball? I'm always ready for some baseball. Here today, the 12 and 17 Great Plains Health Post 163 seniors taking on West Coast Zephyrs and Scottsbluff, who are currently 12 and 13. As I stated earlier in my opening monologue, this Scottsbluff team, not the same Scottsbluff team that we're actually really accustomed to. You know, when you talk for people who've been a part of the Allegiant system for a while, Scottsbluff was always an up-and-coming team. They always felt like they were a couple when I first came on there 3 years ago, and you talked with Coach Holm, you talked with even the coaching staff at the time for Scottsbluff. This team was kind of on the up and up. It was going to take them a few years to get there, but they had a really skillful squad, and it was going to take them a few years before they can really start to crescendo to where they are. Actually, today, they're probably the closest they've ever been to 500 in the last couple of seasons, again, 12 and 13. So this is not the easy victory that a lot of people were expecting Scottsbluff to be this year. They've really turned that corner and have turned into a really good, American Legion program. So that's going to mean that here at Great Plains Health, they're going to have to put on probably, I hate to say put on a different attitude towards Scottsbluff, but aren't going to can't come into today's game thinking it's going to be an easy victory. They're going to need to fight for their right to come away with this game, and especially when you got potentially 3 games on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, potentially on the docket. It makes sense that you need to treat every game, and this game specifically, just as important as every other game. And as Coach always harps about, they can win against anybody, and they can lose to anybody. So they're going to need to be that team today that takes this super, super seriously so they can come away with the victory. Because it's just as important as every other game with districts, man, just around the corner. Not next week, but the week after that. It's time for our national anthem, and with that, we'll step aside and take a break. When we come back, game time right here, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live stream at NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, Senior Night, Larry Coleman Night, and it's Great Plains Health post 163 baseball time right here, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and video live streaming here at NorthPlattePost.com as we having Wesco and the Zephyrs taking on, thank you so much, Great Plains Health. Post 163 in some American Legion baseball action. Man, before you know it, season's going to be over. Can you believe that? We're just in the last couple of days. Well, you shush over there. You quiet down. But we really are getting close to the end of the season here. Not this week, but next week's district time. Boy, howdy, man. And just like that, we're into fall sports once again. Man, time flies. Time just flies by, and they always say time flies when you're having fun. Connor Stifler on the mound here for North Platte in today's ball game. Of course, D. McIntyre will be, as always, behind home plate, catching for the one Connor Stifler. Again, last time we saw him, it was against Grand Island U Save, and while it may not have been the cleanest of appearances for Connor Stifler after a pretty tough first inning of play, they really got it under control, and that was game number 2, of course, of that doubleheader, that 11-8 victory. Now facing off against the opening batter, Eric Sabala, who is the pitcher today for Scottsbluff and the Zephyrs. as that one's going to go into center field for a base hit. Immediately off of the first pitch, Scottsbluff will get a runner aboard with a leadoff hit, Eric Sabala. This season, Connor Stifler with his 16 1/3 innings pitched has a 1-0 win-loss record, an ERA that now sits at 6.429. Great Plains Health getting a lot more games under his belt at the pitcher position. Now has Oscar Felix next up for Scottsbluff with Sabala at first. That one, another well-hit ball into center field. That's back-to-back hits, basically in the same spot in center field from both of the Scottsbluff hitters off of Connor Stifler. So now that puts 2 runners aboard with nobody out in this top of the first inning, with due up being Garrett Schmall, 290 batting average for Schmall this season. 14 singles, 2 doubles, 2 triples for Mr. Schmall. Again, 2 runners aboard already for Scottsbluff and the Zephyrs. At first and second, Greeno on the grass, expecting potentially a bunt, and that next pitch from side of Connor Stifler in there for strike number 1. 0-1 now the count to George Schmall. Blake Grasmick on deck. Thatcher Thamala in the hole for Wesco and the Zephyrs. 0-1 pitch from Stifler. That one batted on over to second base. Stepping on the bag is Ty Handelborg to throw to first. Well, that's going to get way away from Landon Greeno on a bad throw from Tyler Handelborg, trying to do a little too much. And a run will come across off of an error. So Schmall will reach on a fielder's choice, as an error going to be assessed to Ty Handelborg. First error today for North Platte's defense, and now there's one runner in scoring position at second base. As here's Blake Grasmick now up to bat for Scottsbluff. Hard hit ball over to Ty Handelborg at short again. This time he'll whip it on over to first in time for second out of this inning. Does move the runner on over to third base. Oscar Felix. As first pitch into Thatcher Thamala is in there for strike number 1. 2 down here in this top of the first inning, a 1-0 lead for Wesco and the Zephyrs. With Thamala here at the plate, that next pitch from young Connor Stifler will not find the zone this season for Thamala at the plate. 254 batting average with 5 doubles, no triples, and 15 RBIs to his name after Thamala, Caleb Berta, and then Dustin Rector as that next pitch. Beautiful fastball from one Connor Stifler. The runner in scoring position at third base for Scottsbluff. The 1-2 pitch with 2 down. Well, fastball upstairs. Lost a little bit of the control, and with that, drips upstairs out of the zone. 2-2 now the count with 2 down. A 1-0 lead for Scottsbluff in this top of the first inning. As Stifler will wind up. Well, and just barely foul tipped off by Thamala. And with that, we'll still stay at 2-2 the count with 2 outs here in this top of the first inning. Berta on deck once again. Another runner just a few feet away at third base. Here comes another payoff 2-2 pitch. That one dribbler over to Jacoby Silos at second. Great throw to first, and that is how this inning will come to an end. Yes, there was one error that allowed a run to come across, but another good inning for the defense to stop any more coming. And with that, we're now going to go to the bottom of the first inning. Can North Platte bounce back? You'll have to find out. We come back here, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and video live streaming as always, NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. On the mound for Scottsbluff and the Westco Zephyrs, Eric Sabala. He's pitched 13 1/3, ending a 1-0 stat line right now. His ERA 5.775. Currently third on the team in his overalls. Again, our half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortified Group. You can check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey. Sweet beat. As well as our other sponsors here for today's game. And, of course, go to Premier Toyota. Premier Toyota just south of I-80 in North Platte. They invite you to stop out, take a test drive here today. As Sabala's first pitch into Mike McFadden, who is leading off for Great Plains Health Post 163 here on senior night. Senior McFadden, his only season here with Great Plains Health, of course. Transferring in from Lexington, that's going to go into left field for a base hit. How about it? The senior on senior night gets a big hit to lead off from the top of the order for Mike McFadden. And you love to see that. Again, hasn't really gotten too many appearances here at the varsity level, and transferring over from Lexington, as Lexington doesn't have a senior team this year. And on senior night, gets a leadoff hit. And now at first base, with up next for North Platte being Ty Hannibor. He'll see a quick fastball in from Eric Sabala for strike number one. On deck, Caden Johnson with Landon Greeno in the hole for North Platte. Trailing 1-0 here in this bottom of the first inning. As here's a pickoff attempt as McFadden will get back in time. 0-1 still the count here to Ty Hanneborg as Sabala gets the sign from Barrett and delivers. There goes Mike McFadden on the steal, and he will successfully steal into second as Dawson Barrett just could not hold on to the baseball, trying to transition it from glove to throwing hand. And with that, Mike McFadden will successfully steal to second base. It's a 1-1 count. This bottom of the first inning with a runner in scoring position as Ty Hannibor takes a big swing at a pitch above the zone for strike number two. It's 1-2 the count now. With nobody out and a runner in scoring position at second being Mike McFadden. Sabala gets the sign he likes. Couple glances at second. His was going to be 1-2 pitch. He'll step off the bag, gets into center field, and Mike McFadden's going to make his way on over to third on a passed up ball. A little lackadaisical throw from Eric Sabala to Owen Latham at second base. Gets away from Latham into center field, and with that, McFadden will now drift to third and is only a few feet away from tying the game up. That one going out to right field. Can it stay down? It will not. It's gloved up there by Thatcher Thamala. Throw home is going to be pulled very far away from the catcher, Dawson Barrett. And a run will come home on a sacrifice fly from Ty Hanneborg, and just like that, we're all tied up here in this bottom of the first inning. 1-1 the score between these two teams. 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error for North Platte. 1 run, 2 runs, 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error for Wesco and the Zephyrs of Scottsbluff. As here's Caden Johnson up to battle. See a pitch in from Sabala to the zone for strike number 1. Caden Johnson, .306 batting average. 7 doubles, no triples. Does also have a home run to his name. He'll lightly tap that one over to Oscar Felix at short. Throw to first is in plenty of time, and there's out number 2. So Caden Johnson, the senior, grounds out. And now here comes the man himself, another senior. You hate to say it, but in his last year here for North Platte, old reliable Landon Garino up to bat. Bases are empty with 2 down. This bottom of the first inning. Now up against Eric Sabala for the first time today, as he'll swing and miss for strike number 1. So North Platte will have a game tomorrow against Kearney. If they win that one, then they will be guaranteed a game against Hastings on Tuesday. And if they win that one, then they're guaranteed a game against Grand Island on Wednesday. Grounder on over to third baseman Blake Grasmick. And a quick throw to first, and that's how this inning comes to an end. But enough damage was done to tie the game up 1 apiece. We now head to the top of the second inning. A 1-1 ball game. We come back here to Billwood Field on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and video live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Paxton Gordon here once again. Top of the second inning. It's a 1-1 ball game between the Wesco Zephyrs and, of course, Great Plains Health Post 163 half-inning breaks. Brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey. Sweet Pete. As well as Justin Thompson, Family Agency with American Family Insurance. No matter what type of insurance you are looking for, farm, crop, auto, home, or commercial insurance, give Mr. Justin Thompson and his team a call today to make sure you can get the right one for you. Up to bat now, Caleb Berta for Scottsbluff. Berta this season, .237 batting average. He does come along, though, with the most doubles on the team with 8 and has 1 triple to his name. So pretty boomer bust when it comes to his hitting. And there's a beautiful fastball from one Connor Stifler as it finds the zone for strike number 1. As always, our game and personal staffs brought to you in part by State Farm agent Bobby Holst. As there's a check swing from Caleb Berta. Didn't fully go around there for ball number 1. Of course, give a shout out to Miss Bobby Holst, my personal insurance agent. Did a helpful job making sure I Got the insurance I was looking for when I moved to a new apartment. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Connor Stifler. That one pulled down the first base side. Foul. Here for strike number 2. It's currently a 1-2 count with nobody on and nobody out. 1-1 ball game between these two teams as Stifler will receive the call from Dean McIntyre that he likes. Very, very long hold at the moment, and now Stifler will wind up. Beautiful fastball. Ooh, mama. That one just a smidge outside for ball number 2. 2-2 the count now, as that one's going to be dribbled in and out of the glove of Jacoby Silos. Had a tough task with trying to retrieve that one, and Caleb Berta will make his way onto the base pads. As here comes Dustin Rector. As Rector, 235 batting average, 9 singles, 3 doubles to go along with 6 RBIs so far for this Scottsbluff team. As a runner at first base for the Zephyrs with nobody out. First pitch in from Connor Stifler. Director is ball number 1. As now another one in this time very far out in front of Dean McIntyre for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes in this at bat for Connor Stifler. Of course, Gate had that early run come across for Great Plains Health. Owen Latham on deck with Dawson Barrett in the hole. Stifler's next pitch, that time good bounce back as it will sneak its way in for strike number 1. 2-1 with nobody out over at first base, Caleb Berta. Berta this season, 5 stolen bases as there he goes, and Jacoby Silos, cannot apply the tag. Oh, man, that was a bang-bang play on over at second as Coach Holm trying to reason with the infield umpire, but there's now the 6th stolen base this season for Berta. 2-2 the count to Rector, as that one drifts out of zone on an off-speed. It's 3-2 the count now to Rector. Nobody out. Runner at second base in scoring position for Scottsbluff. As Stifler will wait for the sign that he likes and now wind up. Swing and a miss. Down goes Dustin Rector for out number 1. And now here's Owen Latham. Latham this season, 250 batting average. The double to his name and 1 single. Runner at second base. Still being Caleb Berta. That off speed almost into the dirt. Ball number 1. Dawson Barrett on deck with Eric Sabala in the hole for Wesco Zephyrs. Another runner in scoring position as they look to reclaim the lead as we're tied 1-1. That fastball upstairs from Connor Stifler for ball number 2. Saw a little bit of this from Stifler in his last appearance against Grand Island U Save, where his control was overall pretty good, but had a couple of hit or misses when it came to his fastball drifting out of the zone. That one popped up towards the infield as Jacoby Silas will call the Hounds off and get underneath it for second out of this inning. As with that, now second out has been occurred, and up to bat, here comes Dawson Barrett. This season, Barrett, the best hitter for Scottsbluff, 353 batting average, an OPS of over 1,000, has 7 doubles, 1 triple to his name. Still has a runner in scoring position at second, being Caleb Berta. Stifler trying to get out of this inning without allowing a run to come across. That beautiful off speed will find the best movement he wanted and sink into the zone for strike number 1. It's 0-1 the count now with 2 down. And Stifler triggers in. Another one into the zone, even though McIntyre dropped the baseball. Now an 0-2 count. Just one pitch from getting out of this inning without allowing a run to come across. The 0-2. Just barely foul tipped off by Barrett, so we'll try again with the 0-2. On deck, back to the top of the order, Eric Sabala, Oscar Felix in the hole after Sabala. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error on our wicked fast scoreboard for Wesco Zephyrs. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error for Great Plains Health. Pulse 163. Stifler now with his another 0-2 pitch. Boy, man, that just above the lettering for the first ball of this at-bat. 1-2 the count, 2 down. Still in scoring position, Caleb Berta. He's been there for 2 batters now. We'll see if this batter, Dawson Barrett, can bring him home. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, and down goes Barrett swinging, and that's how this inning will come to an end. There was a runner in scoring position for Scottsbluff, but they couldn't bring him home, and with that, we're still tied going into the bottom of the second inning. 1-1 when we come back here on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and video live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back, Billwood Field on FM 98.1, AM 1410. Currently a 1-1 ball game on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. Downloaded their My Phillips 66 app yet. If not, you're missing out on so much savings with Wicked Fast. Has up to bat now Easton Jones for North Platte. As always, our half-inning breaks are brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. You can check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group on the one-ways, 621 South Dewey. Sweet Pete. As well as our other sponsors for today's game, Dr. Chris Kroll and his crew at Kroll Clinic. They specialize in sports injuries, looking to get you back in the game faster, but also, the best part about it, no facility fees. So here comes one Easton Jones, 314 batting average this season for North Platte. 8 doubles, 1 triple, and also 1 home run to go with a team-high 20 RBIs. Facing off against Eric Sabala for the first time here tonight. To lead off this inning, Dean McIntyre on deck with Connor Stifler, the pitcher, in the hole. He'll hard hit one that will get into left field past Blake Grismick. And with that, leading off, Easton Jones gets aboard for the big power hitter, Dean McIntyre. McIntyre this season for North Platte, 286 batting average, 2 doubles, 2 triples, 12 RBIs. Haven't really seen the power numbers when it comes to his extra base hits as we've been accustomed to after a very, very outstanding high school season. But really putting together a good on-base percentage this season. His first pitch from Samala was outside, and the next one suffered the same fate as the first one. 396 on-base percentage for McIntyre. His next pitch is going to, I think, graze off of his shoulder, and with that, Dean McIntyre will take a nice, gentle stroll on over to first following getting hit by a pitch. And here comes one, Connor Stifler, 222 batting average, tied with Jackson Peters, 2 doubles, no triples or a home run, 9 RBIs. While his hitting stats haven't taken a nice step forward as they did in his first season for North Platte baseball, his defense, specifically here during the American Legion, has taken a marketable step in the right direction. Now has 2 runners aboard as he looks to apply the bunt with nobody out, as Eric Sabala's pitch will go high into the sky and out of the zone for ball number 1. Our game stats as well as personal stats brought to you in part by State Farm agent Bobby Holst. 2 runners on the base pads, 1 in scoring position with Easton Jones at second. As stepping off will be Sabala to move Easton Jones back. Not really much of a steal threat for Easton Jones, as the 1-0 in the zone from Sabala for strike number 1 is first baseman Dustin Rector playing into the grass with nobody out, expecting potentially Connor Stifler to lay a bunt down. Jackson Peters courtesy running now for Dean McIntyre. As the 1-1, there goes both runners, as that pitch is in the dirt, and unfortunately for Dawson Barrett, he couldn't find it in time, and both runners will successfully steal on a double stolen base. And with that, they're now both into scoring position. The 1-2 count, make that 2-2 as it pulls Dawson Barrett from his catching position. Easton Jones a few feet away at third. Jackson Peters, the speedster, at second, so a gentle tap into the outfield would bring both home. Swing and a miss, and down goes Connor Stifler for the first out of this inning as he misses on a fastball up in the zone. Here comes designated hitter Easton Geisler, senior. Of course, here on senior night getting some plate appearances. 257 batting average with 7 singles, 2 doubles, and 7 RBIs to go his way for the designated hitter. As the first pitch from Eric Sabala could not really find the zone, and now it's 1-0. Make that a quick 2-0 as the next pitch isn't any better. 2-0 the count. 2 runners in scoring position for North Platte. Tied 1-1 here in this bottom of the second inning with only 1 out. Next pitch from Sabala to Geisler, pretty much in the exact same spot the first 2 were. Outside in the right. So now it's 3-0 the count to Easton Geisler, potentially loading the bases here. Oh, that next pitch around the letters and in for strike number 1. So count moves forward to a 3-1 marking as Easton Jones looking to steal home as that bunt is popped up by Geisler, and it's out of play for strike number 2. Sabala with such a slow windup allowed Easton Jones to practically be almost touching home plate before the ball even got there. Also tells you how good of a jump Easton got on that last pitch. But here's the 3-2. Outside ball 4, and while it may look close in the count, that pitch was nowhere near the zone, and with that, Easton Geisler walks, and here comes senior Tyler Townsend up to bat. 128 batting average, has 5 singles this season, 9 RBIs, and with only 1 out in this bottom of the second inning, the bases are loaded. So can Tyler Townsend get one into the outfield to score the runs? Another pitch from Eric Sabala. Far outside for ball number 1. Man, he's really been hitting almost the exact same spot on all of his balls. Outside to the right. And here's another 1-0. That time he'll put a good bounce back in with a pitch in there for strike number 1. 1-1 with 1 out. Bases loaded. Easton Jones at third. Jackson Peters at second, and Easton Geisler at first base. There goes Jones once again on a steal, and that one's going to be fouled off by Tyler Townsend. Both times Easton Jones has gotten a spectacular start from third base. The bunt just unable to connect properly. Both have been fouled off, and with that, Easton has to take the walk back to third, and the count now progresses to 1-2. Here comes Sabala again. That fastball's upstairs this time, about for ball 2. 2-2 the count. Mike McFadden then back on deck for North Platte with Ty Hanneborg in the hole. As Sabala delivers. Another fastball that just cannot seem to connect into the zone. 3-2. It's been hit or miss on the fastballs for Eric Sabala tonight. 3-2. And there's ball 4, and the run will come home for North Platte. And once again, those fastballs for Eric Sabala just not really connecting where he wants them. A lot of them have been outside of the zone. All 14, I want to say all 14 of them, but a vast majority of them have fortunately not been placed where he wants them to go. And because of that, a run comes across for free. Now 2-1 the lead for Great Plains Health Post 163 over Wesco Zephyrs Scottsbluff. 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error for North Platte. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error for Scottsbluff. That 1-1 pitch, once again, just like where the last pitch was, high up in the zone for ball 2. Man, if there's one thing Eric Sabala has done great tonight, it's been hitting the exact same spot on like back-to-back pitches. Oof, that one sneaks in for strike number 1. 2-1 the count. Ty Hanneborg on deck with Caden Johnson in the hole. As the 2-1 pitch at off speed. Beautifully placed this time from Sabala. 2-2 to Mike McFadden. Again, he singled into left field in his first plate appearance versus Eric Sabala. Can he do it again? 2-2. Pulled foul down the first base side into the grandstands for another 2-2 count. 2-1 lead for Great Plains Health Post 163 on our weekend fast scoreboard with 1 out in the bottom of the second inning. Sabala's payoff 2-2. That one little chipper that's going to be an easy out at second, as unfortunately for Tyler Townsend thought it was going to be picked up by Owen Lathan at second base. So Mike McFadden will reach on a fielder's choice, scoring a run. And then advancing a runner over to third base. As here comes Ty Hanneborg. It's now a 3-1 lead for North Platte. Hanneborg swings and misses on a pitch that was down low for, which would have been ball number 1 if he held back. Runners at the corners now. Geisler at third. McFadden at first. Wouldn't be shocked if we see him stealing here in the near future. With a very long leadoff at first, he does get back just in time. I mean, he had a dangerously long leadoff at first base. Barely gets back. 0-1 the count now. Still to Ty Hanneborg. Has another one, and he's going to get tagged. Oh! I think Dustin Rector dropped the ball as he was trying to tag McFadden. McFadden slipped a little trying to get back to first, so back-to-back pickoffs. Almost getting McFadden. A third time is not the charm as he gets back. As Sabala really trying to get Mike McFadden on a pickoff. Still an 0-1 count, though, to Ty Hanneborg. As the pitch. That's low for Ty Hanneborg for ball number 1. 1-1 the count. To the second baseman, Ty Hanneborg. 2 outs here in this bottom of the second inning. Still a runner in scoring position with Easton Geisler at third. Another pickoff attempt gets away from the first baseman, Rector. With that, Geisler's going to score. McFadden's going to make his way all the way around to third. And it's an easy run coming across for North Platte. And another runner in scoring position being Mike McFadden. As Sabala tried to pick off McFadden all the way over at first again, and this time backfired. Second error today for Scottsbluff. Now a 2-1 count and a Ty Hanneborg. With now Mike McFadden in scoring position at third. Big swing and a miss by Hanneborg. Just barely missed it. And with that, 2-2 with 2 down in this bottom of the second inning. Foul tipped off by Hanneborg to keep the at-bat alive. Caden Johnson in the hole. Old reliable Landon Greeno on deck. 4-1 the lead for Great Plains Health. Post 163 in this game versus Scottsbluff. As Sabala delivers. A 3-2 count. Marshall was all pumped up to throw that strike call. Almost. He had to hold himself back a little bit. 3-2 now the count to Ty Hanneborg as Sabala delivers. Good hit. Going into left field. Mike McFadden will score, and another run comes across. An RBI single from Ty Hanneborg. Drives another runner home for Great Plains Health. They now lead 5-1 on our wicked fast scoreboard, and time's going to be called as stepping out to have a conversation. Dallas Liptak will have a conversation with Eric Sabala as 4 runs have come across this inning for Great Plains Health. As Sabala wouldn't call it the worst inning. So you might look at it, the 5 runs have come across so far, and 4 of them in this inning. Hasn't been like he's given up dingers out to the outfield, but just little small, tiny mistakes have been adding up for Eric Sabala on the mound, which have allowed North Platte to get into really good positions. And to North Platte's credit, they've been converting on a lot of those opportunities. We've seen it's been hit or miss this season for Great Plains Health post 163 when it comes to capitalizing on opportunities that they can have at their foot. Many of times see them leave 11-plus men stranded on the base pads. Tonight's not that night so far, as 5 runs have come across, a lot of them with runners in scoring position. As first pitch into Caden Johnson, that's going to get away from Dawson Barrett. And with that, Ty Hanneborg blitzes on over to second base. And that's a steal for Mr. Hanneborg, and now the count sits at 1-0 to Caden Johnson. He grounded out in his first plate appearance against Sabala to Oscar Felix at shortstop. Another pitch that's going to get away from Dawson Barrett, but not enough to move Hanneborg to third. So the count now sits 2-0 with 2 down. 5-1 the lead on our wicked fast scoreboard for North Platte. As Sabala's 46 pitch is not going to come, as he'll attempt to pick off Ty Hanneborg at second, but he gets there in plenty of time. Lathan not quick enough to apply the tag, and with that, Hanneborg is safe. So back to a 2-0 count to Caden Johnson. The pitch. Fastball once again, just struggling to find that consistent command of it into the dirt. Ball 3. 3-2 the count to the senior, Caden Johnson. As Sabala glancing at second twice with his 3-0. Grounder on over to Owen Lathan, bouncing out of his glove, and that's going to score Ty Hanneborg as he's going to strut his way on home, and that's another error for Scottsbluff, and because of that error, A run's going to come home from Caden Johnson. Fortunately, that stat won't go the way of Johnson with the error going to Owen Lathan, but another run comes across for North Platte. They now lead 6-1 on our wicked fast scoreboard. With Old Reliable, Landon Greeno up to bat. He powers one into the glove of the shortstop, Oscar Felix, who steps on second base, and that's how this inning comes to an end. Big hit from Greeno power-wise, but unfortunately couldn't get past the glove of Phoenix, and with that, we're going to go to the top of the third inning. Now a 6-1 lead. Great Plains Health Post 163. We come back here. FM 98.1, AM 1410. And as always, live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Video live streaming, as always, at NorthPlattePost.com. Top of the third inning. A 6-1 lead on our wicked fast scoreboard for Great Plains Health Post 163. 6 runs on 3 hits. 1 error for North Platte. 1 run, 3 hits. 3 errors for Wesco and the Zephyrs, Scottsbluff. Eric Sabala up to bat. He singled up the middle in his first plate appearance against Connor Stifler, and he'll lead off with a foul ball down the third base side for strike number 1. Half inning break is brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. You can check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group at his location, 621 South Dewey, Sweet Pete. As well as our other sponsors for today, Hands of Heartland. Hands of Heartland has offered support and services for those with developmental disabilities in Nebraska since 1998, and they're bringing those services to the North Platte area. That's a high fly ball out to left field for an easy grab to Tyler Townsend, and there's one down in this top of the third for Oscar Felix. He, exactly just like Eric Sabala, singled right up the middle in his first plate appearance. Oh, whoopsie daisies. I better get that off the screen. Why don't I? As the next pitch from Connor Stifler into the zone, strike number 1. George Schmall on deck with Blake Grasmick in the hole. That pitch, not so much on the good side as it takes a nasty bounce in front of Oscar Felix for ball 1. 1-1 the count, with nobody on, 1 out in the top of the third inning. Great Plains Health leading 6-1. Stifler's windup. Another pitch then hits in front of the dirt. Ball number 2, 2 balls, 1 strike to Oscar Felix. Yeah, Stifler trying to bounce back. Can't find the zone again this time. Very close inside to Felix for ball 3. 3-1 the count with 1 out. Top of the third, nobody on the base paths. Next pitch. That pitch again high and tight. Couldn't find the zone, and Oscar Felix will wander his way to first with a walk. And with a runner on and 1 out, here's George Schmall. Reached on a fielder's choice in his last plate appearance. Has a runner at first base being the speedy Oscar Felix. Potentially could steal for Scottsbluff, and there's a pickoff attempt. But it won't be in time to tag Oscar Felix from Connor Stifler's pitch. Felix gets back to first in time. As Stifler delivers that fastball. There for strike number one. George Small, good pitch framing from Dean McIntyre. Get that ball into the zone as the 0-1. Smashed out to the gap in left center field, but Caden Johnson's going to waltz on over underneath it and collect an easy out number two. That high fly ball was going nowhere, and with that, here comes Blake Grasmick. Part of Scottsbluff's 3 hits so far today. Still has a runner on over at first, being Oscar Phoenix. As Stifler will take a glance at Felix at first and deliver his pitch. Tight side on Grasmick for ball number 1. Thatcher Thamala on deck. Caleb Berta in the hole for the Wesco Zephyrs, trailing 6-1. Another pitch from Stifler, smothered in the dirt by Dean McIntyre. So the count now pushes to 2-0. Stifler with a quick glance to Felix at first now will look to deliver his 2-0 pitch. That one crushed out to right field. Mike McFadden getting up underneath it, and he makes the easy grab, and that's how this inning comes to an end. Yes, the runner did get aboard, but an easy couple of pitches after that to get this inning over with. We now go to the bottom of the third, a 6-1 lead for Great Plains Health, when we come back here on FM 98.1, AM 1410 video live stream at NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field on Larry Coleman night, as well as senior night. How about a 6-1 lead? Great Plains Health posts 163 in this bottom of the third inning. Our half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B, and that was for Eric Sabala's fastball that first off was in the stratosphere, and second of all almost blew the poor hand off of Dawson Barrett. That next pitch, well, around the knees, not enough to get in the zone. 2 balls, no strikes. Half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group, helping North Platte and the surrounding areas for more than 50 years. As Easton Jones will swing and miss, trying to go to the fence with that swing. 2-1 now the count, with nobody on, nobody out in the bottom of the third. Next pitch from Sabala, outside again. Nobody warming up in the bullpen for Scottsbluff. 3-1 count to Easton Jones. That one absolutely belted out to center field. It can go all the way to the warning track, and it will. This is extra bases for Easton Jones. A stand-up double for the big man. And with that, he is in scoring position already right off the bat here in this bottom of the third inning. For Dean McIntyre, who was hit by a pitch in his last at-bat versus Eric Sabala. 54 pitches so far for Sabala, 29 strikes, 25 balls for, oh my good heavens, for Sabala, as poor Easton Jones got a little too far away from second, stumbled his way back to second, and almost missed the play, almost missed his hand touching the second base bag, but he's back in just the nick of time. So here's the first pitch from Sabala into McIntyre. He'll half-heartedly swing and foul it off. Strike number one. You gonna wait? Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, sure. He looks tie-handed. Look at that, man. Tad looking at me like I'm crazy. 0-1 the count. Easton Jones at second base. As Sabala once again will try to pick off Jones, but he gets back in time. Still in scoring position for Great Plains Health as Sabala will now deliver his second pitch to McIntyre. Sliced into the parking lot for a foul ball. Count now moves to 0-2. Connor Stifler on deck with Easton Geisler in the hole for North Platte as they look to extend the lead this inning, leading 6-1 on our wicked fast scoreboard. Oh, Steve Tad's such a great guy. How about the third pickoff to Easton Jones as it gets away from Sabala and then gets away from Dawson Barrett, but Jones will not move his way to third. Two opportunities and fortunately didn't commit. 6-1 the lead for Great Plains Health. Still in scoring position, Easton Jones is McIntyre will deliver, or we'll see, the 0-2 pitch from Sabala. Ooh. Good patience from Dean McIntyre on a pitch that was oh so close to making it in. And with that now a 1-2 count. And Sabala, another glance at second with his 1-2. Pulls Barrett from his catching position. Now a 2-2 count. Some good awareness from McIntyre to stand pat. Look for the pitch he wants. Here comes the 2-2 from one Eric Sabala, but he'll try to pick off once again Easton Jones as he gets back in time. Fourth time in this at-bat that Sabala's tried to pick off Easton Jones. As here comes the 2-2 pitch yet again from Sabala. Oh, that's going to get away from Dawson Barrett, and because of that, Easton Jones makes his way on over to third following a passed-up ball. And now it's a full count with Jones just a few feet away at third, threatening to score and push the lead even further up for Great Plains Health. They currently lead 6-1. Scottsbluff still not looking to put a new pitcher in or warm somebody up as McIntyre fouls one back, just getting enough of the ball to foul it off. So we'll still stay at a 3-2 count. Third foul ball of this at bat for McIntyre. And that's ball 4, and Dean will walk on over to first. To put two runners at the corners, as here comes Jackson Peters courtesy running. Wouldn't be shocked if Coach Liptak will think about a pitching change potentially coming up soon. If it gets any scarier, so he's having a conversation with some players in the dugout, or maybe his assistant coach. Still nobody warming up for Scottsbluff. There goes one Jackson Peters on over to second, and Dawson Barrett's not even going to attempt a steal as he had to really fly up from his sitting position to even collect that baseball, so Jackson Peters successfully steals second base. As here's Connor Stifler up to bat. Of course, struck out swinging in his last plate appearance. 2 pitches that are way, way, way out of the zone. So Stifler made it a 2-0 count. Runners in scoring position, Easton Jones at second, and Jackson Peters, Jones at third, Peters at second, as Stifler takes a big old hack and misses for strike number 1. 2-1 the count now. Sapala delivers again. Another big swing by Connor Stifler, and strike number 2. It's 2-2 the count on pitches that were just outside of the zone. Sapala looking for the first out of this inning, delivers. That's upstairs in a fastball. It's now 3-2 the count. Geisler on deck with Tyler Townsend in the hole for North Platte, leading 6-1. As Eric Sabala likes the sign from Dawson Barrett and delivers. Oh, and that's a strike 3 call as down goes Connor Stifler looking. There's out number 1 of this bottom of the 3rd inning. As here comes Easton Geisler up to bat. Jones on over, still at 3rd. Peters at 2nd, threatening to score. As Geisler walked in his last plate appearance. Sees the first pitch from Eric Sabala upstairs for ball 1. 68 total pitches today for Sabala. 35 strikes, 33 balls. As he'll bounce back beautifully with the strike down the middle. It's 1-1 the count to Easton Geisler, the senior. Townsend on deck with Mike McFadden in the hole for North Platte. The 1-1. Oh, that's going to bounce off the back of the head of Geisler, and with that, the bases are now loaded. So, bases loaded once again for Tyler Townsend, who walked in his last plate appearance versus Eric Sabala. Mike McFadden back on deck at the top of the order after Townsend, and then Ty Hanneborg in the hole. Still no action in the bullpen for Scottsbluff. So, just because they have 2 players does not mean they don't have a bullpen still out there. As that first pitch into Tyler Townsend outside for ball 1, and next pitch in there for strike number 1 around the lettering. 1-1 the count with 1 out. As that next pitch also around the lettering. For strike number 2. Townsend a little shake of the head, not agreeing with that call from home plate umpire Mr. Marshall. As that's once again upstairs, but this time for ball number 2, 2-2. As time's called from Marshall Robinson, and Tyler Townsend will step out of the batter's box and step back in. 2-2 the count with 1 out, runners on every base pad. Fouling that pitch off to the visiting dugout. Tyler Townsend does. Geisler at first. Peters at second. Easton Jones at third base. A 6-1 lead for Great Plains Health Post 163. Sabala's 2-2. Swing and a miss as down goes Tyler Townsend for a second out of this inning. And here comes Mike McFadden. Reached on a fielder's choice in his first plate appearance. His second plate appearance. A single in his first to left field. Has the bases loaded with 2 down. See if he can bring some more runs across against Sabala. That pitch around the knees in strike 1. Much better inning for Eric Sabala and his control on his pitches. Can Mike McFadden bring some more runs across? Next pitch, wow. That one just outside for strike number 2. To the right fielder. So now a quick 0-2 count to Mike McFadden. As Sabala will step off, get reset. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Swing and missing is Mike McFadden. And that's how this inning comes to an end. The bases were loaded, but no runs were able to come across. 6-1 still the lead for North Platte. We come back here on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming at NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field. Larry Coleman night as well as senior night. A 6-1 lead for Great Plains Health, post 163 as we reach now the top of the fourth inning. Half inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann of the Fortify Group. Check out Kevin McGann of the Fortify Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Sweet Beat. As well as our other sponsors for today's game, Premier Toyota. Premier Toyota just south of I-80 in North Platte invites you to stop out, take a test drive here today of all their new and pre-owned vehicles. Premier Toyota, let's go places. Following the strikeout of Mike McFadden to end last inning, here's Thatcher Thamala to lead off for Scottsbluff. Grounded out in his first plate appearance. Caleb Berta on deck with Dustin Rector in the hole for Scottsbluff. This time is called for Marshall Robinson to clear something out of his eye. Must have been a little bit of some dust. Wind not blowing too aggressively, but probably in a nice 5 to 10 mile per hour breeze. Connor Stifler still on the mound. 41 total pitches. Will throw one outside for ball number 1 to lead this top of the fourth inning off. 25 strikes, 17 balls for Connor Stifler already in today's game. That's his 1-0. The one that just pulls upstairs for ball 2. Of course, in his last start against Grand Island Youth Save, you can see that you say he can get away from him with the way the score went, but overall I thought Stifler had a pretty good performance. Just a lot of infield mistakes are what caused that lead. They blew up so high, as that's a big old swing and a miss from Thatcher Thamala for strike number 1. 2-1 the count now with nobody out, nobody on for Scottsbluff. As Stifler will get the sign from McIntyre and go into his motion. That one hard hit on over into center field for a base hit. Scottsbluff will lead this inning off with a single from Thatcher Thamala. And here comes Caleb Berta. He also singled in his last plate appearance. His time's going to be called, and out comes head coach Ricky Holm to have a conversation with not just his infield, but Connor Stifler. It was a rather short conversation as he's already making his way back to the dugout. So, rather short conversation, and a runner at first base being Thatcher Thamala. Here's Caleb Berta against single pass Ty Handborg in his first plate appearance. Dustin Rector on deck with Owen Lathan in the hole for the Wesco Zephyrs. Yeah, Stifler's next pitch tight inside to Berta for strike number 1. 0-1 the count. Nobody out. One runner on at first base being Thamala. Connor Stifler trying to hold this 6-1 lead in favor of Great Plains Health, as that one's going to bounce off the foot there of Caleb Berta. And because of that, hit by pitch, 2 runners are now aboard for Dustin Rector. Struck out swinging in his first plate appearance against Connor Stifler. Owen Latham on deck, and Dawson Barrett in the hole for Scottsbluff, as they're now threatening to put some runs across here. As Stifler winds up, big fastball into the zone. There's the first strike of this at-bat. Berta at first, Thamala at second. Wouldn't really expect these two to be a huge steal threat. But Landon Greeno is on the grass, potentially with a bunt from Rector. 0-1 check swung by Dustin Rector. Wise decision as that had its final position into the dirt. 1-1 the count, nobody out. 2 runners aboard. Great Plains Health post 163. Oh, man. That fastball in there for strike number 2 from Connor Stifler to Rector. If Stifler can find this last pitch into the zone for a strike, that'd be a huge help to him, so he doesn't have the bases loaded. As that one in the zone for strike number 3 is down goes Dustin Rector. Feel bad for the guy. In my eyes, that was not in the zone. It was much closer to Rector than it probably was the zone itself. And with that, first out of this inning for Scottsbluff, as up to bat, here comes Owen Latham. He flew out to Jacoby Silos in his very first plate appearance. Has 2 runners still aboard for Scottsbluff. Thamala at second, Berta at first, as Stifler's first pitch will push into the dirt for ball number 1. One 1-0, 2 runners aboard. Stifler winds up. Fouled back off for first strike of this at-bat to Owen Latham. Dawson Barrett on deck, back to the top of the order with Eric Sabala, who was in the hole. One from Connor Stifler to Owen Latham. Here it comes. Fastball will pull McIntyre away from the plate here for ball number 2. 2-1 the count now, with 1 out in the top of the 4th inning. Stifler replaying the signs a little bit from McIntyre for the one he likes. Here comes the 2-1. Oh, that one absolutely smoked out to left field. It's going back. Still going, but there's Tyler Townsend to make the grab all the way at the warning track. Owen Latham with an absolute mammoth shot out to left field. Tracked down by Tyler Townsend, but now he's in some pain. Uh-oh, he holding on to his, looks like his right arm as he barreled into the fence. And that would be not what this team needed after the injuries that already have preceded the squad. Lake Sellers with a broken thumb. Cade Songster with a broken forearm. And now Tyler Townsend holding on to that. Looks to be right arm, as he collided with the fence, trying to make that grab. He might be holding his elbow. Yeah, it is his elbow. But what a grab by Townsend out left field in the warning track. Still made that throw, but now a little bit of concern is took a nasty whack, and yeah, that'll probably do it for Townsend today in his senior night. As here comes Jackson Peters out replace Tyler Townsend. It looks like he's going to be making his way out of the ball game. Gosh, hate to see that after what a magnificent play he had out in the outfield on that last grab. But now the immediate pressing concern is he going to be okay? Especially with him being needed down the stretch with some very big games coming up. Hopefully just a precautionary measure as he'll stroll off, and looks like his day will come to an end, and Jackson Peters will now take over for Tyler Townsend out in left field. As now up to bat, here comes Dawson Barrett. Barrett, of course, struck out swinging in his first plate appearance against Connor Stifler. Still 2 runners aboard. Thatcher Thamala at second. Caleb Berta at first for Scottsbluff, though 2 outs here in this top of the 4th. As Stifler delivers. Well, that one popped up and drifting foul down the third base side for strike number 1. 6-1 the lead for Great Plains Health, post 163, 6 runs, 4 hits, 1 error on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. 1 run, 4 hits, 3 errors for Scottsbluff. As Stifler will get the okay from Marshall Robinson, home plate umpire, to pitch, and he'll get the sign from Dean McIntyre, and the 0-1. Quick throw on over to first. They get the tag. Oh my God. And now here's time, because out comes Coach Holm. That was a bang-bang play at first. Greeno and Holm thinking they got the tag off. And now Coach Holm going to go have and ask for review with home plate umpire Marshall Robinson. Another one of those Dean McIntyre specials where the first baseman, the player at first, gets super far away from the first baseman. Oh, now we're going to have a go talk with Scottsbluff head coach. Well, this is quite an interesting. Oh, they're going to call him out. They overturn the call. Beautiful play from Dean McIntyre, throwing out Caleb Berta at first base. And that's how this inning comes to an end. A beautiful defensive play from North Platte. We now go to the bottom of the 4th. Still a 6-1 lead on our Wicked Fast scoreboard when we come back. FM 98.1, AM 1410, and of course live stream at NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Of course, live streaming NorthPlattePost.com as Tyler Townsend now making his way back to the dugout, arm in a sling. What a beautiful play from Dean McIntyre to end the inning as he throws out Caleb Berta at first base, as Berta just extended too far away from the bag on a pitch, and McIntyre with a great throw to first, and that's how the inning comes to an end. Again, our half-inning break is brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. You can check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group in his location, 621 South Dewey. Sweet Beat, as well as to our scoreboard sponsor for today's game, Wicked Fast. Have you downloaded the MyPhillips 66 app yet? Not, you're missing out on so much savings with Wicked Fast. So following the out from Caleb Berta last inning, here's Ty Hanneborg. Singled in his last plate appearance. Sacrifice flew out in his first to bring a run home. Now we'll lead off in this bottom of the fourth inning. A 6-1 lead for Great Plains Health over Scottsbluff. Still on the mound, Eric Sabala, as his first pitch is high and behind. Hanneborg for ball number 1. Sabala's 1-0. Around the knees and in for strike number 1. 1-1 the count, so setting it back to 0 essentially with these next couple pitches. 1-1. Fouled off, heading towards the direction of my personal vehicle. For strike number 2, 1-2 the count, nobody out, nobody on. Sabala at 82 pitches so far for Scottsbluff. Oh, that off speed did not come off right from Eric Sabala, and it's upstairs for ball 2. 2-2 the count now. And as the delivery. Check swing. Oh my gosh. And they're going to say Ty Hanneborg went around. I mean, I don't agree with that one bit, but Hanneborg goes down swinging. Umpire makes the call, and down goes Hanneborg for out number 1. And just like that, here comes Caden Johnson. So far an 0 for 2 day for Joni after a strong appearance versus Broken Bow on Saturday. See a fastball from Sabala upstairs. Ball number 1. 1-0 the count on deck. Landon Greeno with Easton Jones in the hole. Great Plains Health. That pitch around the letters and in for strike 1. 1-1 the count. That's the next pitch on its way. Fouled off on a fastball. 1-2 the count. One and two the count, 1 out. Next pitch from Sabala. Oh boy, right down the middle there for strike number 3 as Caden Johnson gets all locked up. And that's how that at-bat goes to an end, with now up to bat being Landon Greeno again. Tyler Townsend banking his way back to the dugout, arm in a sling after running into the fence in his last at-bat. That one smashed high into the sky, up underneath it. Center fielder, and just like that, that's how the inning comes to an end for Greeno as Caleb Berta's there to grab it. And just like that, quick 1, 2, 3, bottom of the 4th. We now make our way to the top of the 5th here, FM 98.1. AM 14-10, a 6-1 lead for North Platte when we come back here. Welcome back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, top of the fifth inning. North Platte leading 6-1 on our wicked fast scoreboard. 6 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for Great Plains Outpost 163. 1 run, 4 hits, 3 errors for Scottsbluff, the West Coast Zephyrs. Got our scoreboards always brought to you in part by Wicked Fast. Wicked Fast, of course, just across from the Do-It Center in North Platte. If you haven't downloaded the My Phillips 66 app yet, I don't know what you're doing because you're missing out on so much savings with Wicked Fast. So here's Dawson Barrett up to bat again after he batted last half inning and unfortunately couldn't complete his at-bat with Berta getting thrown out at first base. So now he's up once again to lead off this top of the fifth inning. If you're just joining us on senior night here, Tyler Townsend made a fantastic grab out over in left field. I'm pointing because somebody's going to the bullpen, and I just want to say that I am correct, that they do have enough people to go to the bullpen. Everyone thought I was crazy, as that one, little chipper, will be out of the reach of Easton Jones, and that's a single there for Dawson Barrett. But still, I'm just saying. But if you are joining us, back to my point, so Tyler Townsend made a fantastic grab out in left field and unfortunately collided with the fence out in the outfield and immediately grimaced in pain and currently pulled out of the game right now. He is back to the dugout in the sling, so we'll, of course, talk to Coach Holm after the game to get a quick little injury update on that. But runner at first base being Dawson Barrett, now to the top of the order with Sabala, as that's out of the reach there of Jacoby Silos, and another runner gets onto the base pads. 2 back-to-back singles from Scottsbluff. Now as Oscar Felix up to bat. As 2 runners aboard, Sabal at first, Barrett at second. Greeno playing the grass with, again, nobody out, expecting potentially a bunt from Oscar Felix. George Schmall on deck with Blake Grasmick in the hole. Of course, somebody, as mentioned earlier, making their way out to the bullpen to warm up for Scottsbluff. Thatcher Thamala. As the 1-0 to Easton Jones, can we see a double play? We look like so. As it's a bad throw from Jones, and it gets away from Landon Greeno. 1 run will score, and maybe even 2. As making his way all the way over to third, Oscar Felix reaching on an error as Easton Jones at least got the first out, stepped on the bag, and tried to line it up to Landon Greeno, but unfortunately throws it away from Greeno, and with that, one run comes across. So one run comes across as the first pitch from Connor Stifler there for ball number 1, with Oscar Felix now at third base, as that next pitch will finally sneak in for strike number 1. 6-2 on our wicked fast scoreboard here. As next pitch from Stifler, just tight and sign for ball 2. Two and one, a runner in scoring position at third base, is another one lopped into right, falls in front of Mike McFadden, and that score runner at third base, Oscar Felix, will come on home as another run comes across for Scottsbluff cutting this lead now in half, 6-3 on our Wicked Fast scoreboard. 7th hit today for the Wesco Zephyrs. And Schmall's on over at first, and Stifler will try to pick off George Schmall, but he gets back in plenty of time. 6 runs, 4 hits, 1 error, 2 errors now for Great Plains Health. Post 163, 3 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors for Scottsbluff in this top of the 5th inning. First pitch into Blake Grasmick there for strike number 1 from Connor Stifler. As he'll get set and deliver another one. Grounder that'll go foul past Easton Jones for strike number 2. 0-2 the count now. With 1 out at the top of the 5th inning. 2 runs have already come across for Scottsbluff on their offensive side of things. With Thatcher Thamala on deck and Caleb Berta in the hole. 0-2 the count now to Mr. Blake Grasmick. Next pitch. Outside, throw on over to first. Well, not be in time as Schmall gets back. That pitch is up high, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out in this top of the 5th. Still, North Platte leading 6-3 on the Wicked Fast scoreboard. Stifler gets set again and delivers. Curveball. Oof. Just up high for ball 2. 2-2 the count now with 1 out. Just a little too far above the letters on the last pitch. And now a fastball as Stifler's bounce back pitch pulls Dean McIntyre away from his catching position, and it's now ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes here in this top of the 5th with 1 out. And Stifler will deliver. Hard hit ball to Easton Jones, and it goes right through his glove, and just like that, another error for North Platte, and Blake Grasmick gets aboard. For now, Thatcher Thamala has 2 runners aboard with only 1 out in this top of the 5th inning. Singled up the middle in his last plate appearance, grounded out, though, in his first. As after giving up 2 runs already, this North Platte defense trying to hold it together and not allow any more to come across. There are 2 aboard. Schmall at second, Grasmick at first. Swing and a miss for Thatcher Thamala. Very far out in front, makes it strike 1. 0-1 the count with 1 out. As Connor Stifler will get the sign for McIntyre. Take a long glance at second. Here's 0-1. Foul tipped off just barely by Thamala for strike number 2. 0-2 with 1 out. A 6-3 lead for Great Plains Health. As looking for the second out of this inning, Stifler delivers. It's in the dirt. Good save by McIntyre to not let it go to the backstop. But there's the first ball of this at-bat. So now it's a 1-2 count with 1 out. And Stifler, again, looking to push that out total to 2 now. Fastball! In there! Strike 3 as down goes Thamala looking. Late call from the home plate umpire, but he makes it nonetheless. And with that, there's the second out of this inning for Caleb Berta. Hit by a pitch on his foot. His last plate appearance, singled in the left field in his first. Has still 2 runners aboard for Scottsbluff, being George Schmall and Blake Grasmick. 6-3 the lead for Great Plains Health on our Wicked Fast scoreboards. That first pitch from Connor Stifler is in the dirt for ball number 1. Dustin Rector on deck with Owen Lathan in the hole. for the Wesco Zephyrs. Stifler 72 pitches, 45 strikes to 27 balls. The 0-1 pitch. Out around the letters, but high for ball 2. 2-0 the count. Still a 6-3 lead for North Platte. They have given up 2 runs, though, in this top of the 5th inning off of an error. As the 2-0 is met with a good bounce-back pitch from Connor Stifler for strike number 1. 2-1 the count now. As Connor Stifler trying to focus back in and make this a 2-2 count as he delivers the 2-1. Well, I say that, it's going to get away from Dean McIntyre, and that's going to move the runners up 1 base pad on a passed up ball. So with that, George Schmall makes his way on over to third, and Grasmick over to second. 3-1 the count with 2 outs here. A walk would load the bases for Dustin Rector. Which isn't the end of the world. Rector so far today 0-2. As the 3-1 pitch. Hard hit ball bounces into the glove of Ty Hanneborg, and there's a great little tiptoe attempt from Landon Green. I mean, he had to reach so far up, he might have threw an arm out of the socket to get it. Still had his foot touch the bag, and with that, we're going now to the bottom of the 5th inning. Still a lead for Great Plains South as they're up 6-3 when we come back here. FM 98.1, AM 1410, and of course, live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field, Larry Coleman Night, Senior Night on FM 98.1, AM 1410. Half inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. You can check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey. Sweet Bee, as well as our other sponsors here for today's game. Dr. Chris Kroll and his crew at Kroll Clinic. Located in the Westfield Shopping Center in North Platte and McCook, where they specialize in sports injuries, helping you get back in the game faster as in the very first pitch that Easton Jones sees in this at-bat. Just barely touches his elbow, and with that, he makes his way on over to first base. So here's Dean McIntyre. Still has yet to record a stat line, hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance, walked in his second. Now has a runner at first base being Easton Jones as the first pitch into him from Eric Sabala. Down low for ball 1 again. Thatcher Thamala, the right fielder, was warming up in the last half inning, potentially to take over for Sabala, who's at 91 total pitches. Boy, howdy. It's that one around the lettering in for strike number 1. 1-1 the count. Nobody out. Runner at first base for North Platte, trying to not only hold on to the 6-3 lead, but maybe add on to it. Now here comes a steal from Easton Jones. He slides into second safe as that gets away from the second baseman, Owen Lathan. A bit of a scary situation for North Platte base running, as looked to be a pickoff attempt from Sabala, and Easton Jones takes off. But he successfully gets into second. Stolen base, and now in scoring position for Great Plains Health, with somebody who most certainly can bring him home, being Dean McIntyre. The 1-1, Sabala. Bouncer, it's going to be picked up by Lathan. Throw on over to first, plenty of time, and they'll get the out at first base, but that does advance Easton Jones one base closer to home. He's now at third base for Connor Stifler, who not the prettiest of stat line tonight from the hitting box. Struck out swinging in his first plate appearance, struck out looking in his second against Eric Sabala. Though, Stifler does have Easton Jones at third base as Stifler looks to lay the bunt down, but that's down low for ball number 1. On deck after Connor Stifler, Easton Geisler, and then what would have been Tyler Townsend, but now is Jackson Peters. That off speed from Sabala, also around the ankles for ball 2. Yeah, Sabala with this 2-0 pitch to Stifler. In there for strike number 1. 2-1 the count now. Connor Stifler gets set. Here comes the home plate steal from Easton Jones. They'll score the run. They'll at least get the out, maybe at first base. Oh, they will. Beautiful bunt from Connor Stifler to at least score the run home. He almost made his way on over to first. But they'll get the tag out. But still a successful move by North Platte as Easton Jones scores this time successfully. He's been trying all night to get that stolen base home off of the bunt. This time it worked just good enough as Geisler will pop one up to the heavens as Richter gets under it, easily grabs it, and that's how this inning comes to an end. But a run did come across for North Platte. We go to the top of the 6th inning, a 7-3 lead. When we come back here on FM 98.1. AM 1410 and live stream at NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and as always, live streaming NorthPlattePost.com. Mike McFadden's night comes to an end, the senior, as Tommy Haggart will take over in right field. Good night from McFadden. Had a single, fielder's choice, and a ground out in his appearances today. Half-inning breaks brought to you in part by Kevin McGann in the Fortified Group. You can check out Kevin McGann in the Fortified Group, his new location. 621 South Dewey. Well, that's not as new, but his same location. It's been there for a while now. 621 South Dewey. Sweet Pea, as well as my former phone just dropped. Justin Thompson Family Agency with American Family Insurance. One-stop shop for all your farm, ranch, auto, home, and commercial insurance. Dustin Rector up to bat. First pitch in from Connor Stifler was up high for ball 1, and he takes a big old nasty swing. Comes up short with a miss. 1-1 the count. Rector Struck out swinging in his first plate appearance, struck out looking in his second. As Thatcher Thamala heads back out to, or George Schmall now. I still think Thamala is also out there. So I think both Thamala and Thatcher, and George Schmall out there all warming up. 2-1 now to Dustin Rector, makes it 3-1 from Connor Stifler. I don't think anyone's been warming up for North Platte. As out, TJ Haggart sticks his head out. Not a soul out there in the Great Plains Health bullpen. The 3-1 from Connor Stifler on a beautiful fastball there for strike number 1. Rector thought it was outside for ball 4 would have been, but now it's a 3-2 count with nobody out. As there's ball 4. As on over to first goes Dustin Rector on a walk. Owen Lathan now up to bat. 2 flyouts in his appearance today. His last out was a miraculously good save from Tyler Townsend out in left field, and then his first at bat flew out to Jacoby Silos at second as that fastball from Connor Stifler is upstairs for ball number 1. Dawson Barrett on deck with Eric Sabala in the hole. Nobody out here in this top of the 6th inning. 7-3 lead for Great Plains Health. The runner at first base for Scottsbluff is just lost for words on that pitch. As 1-1 now the count. Around the ankles of Owen Lathan. As Stifler now will get set and once again deliver. Shocked that one wasn't a strike either, as it's 2-1 the count. Still a runner at first base. Dustin Rector for Scottsbluff. Stifler's next pitch. Hard grounder on over to Ty Hanneborg. Throw to second. Throw to first. In time for the double play. Beautifully executed by the North Platte infield. 6-4-3, and just like that, 2 outs are now on the board to bring up Dawson Barrett, who singled in his last plate appearance in a little blooper over the head of Easton Jones at third base. Did strike out swinging in his first plate appearance. That was a big out for Connor Stifler, because again, the hopes, if I'm looking into the head of head coach Ricky Holm, is that Stifler can go the whole game today, because again, North Platte will be playing tomorrow against Kearney, so trying to use as little pitching as he can with a crazy slew of games coming up. That pitch around the lettering for second ball to Dawson Barrett. Quickly a 2-0 count. 7-3 lead for North Platte in the top of the 6th. Eric Sabala on deck with Oscar Felix in the hole as that fastball from Stifler is pulling Dean McIntyre away. 3-0 the count. 2 down here in this top of the 6th inning. Stifler looking for that final out now at 87 pitches. Oh, right down the center for strike number 1 from Connor Stifler. 3-1 with 2 outs as Stifler's next pitch fouled off by Dawson Barrett, and just like that, what was a 3-0 count has been moved full 3-2. This would be a huge, huge out for Connor Stifler if he can execute right here. The 3-2 pitch. In there, strike 3. A drop third strike doesn't matter either which way, as they'll throw to first in time as Dawson Barrett gets out, and that's how this inning will come to an end for Scottsbluff offense. Huge plays from the infield and great pitching from Connor Stifler to get out of this inning. We now go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Great Plains Health continue to push the lead more. You'll have to find out when we come back. FM 98.1, AM 1410, and of course, to be a live stream at NorthPlatePost.com. Welcome back here to Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410. Bottom of the sixth inning, a 7-3 lead for Great Plains Health, post 163. New pitcher on the mound for Wesco and the Zephyrs. After 98 pitches from Eric Sabala, his night comes to an end. 55 strikes, 43 balls. 6-7 runs came across on his watch, but 3 errors to go with this Wesco Zephyrs defense. And now on the mound, George Schmall will be taking over. As always, our half-inning breaks are brought to you in part by Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. Check out Kevin McGann and the Fortifying Group. His location, 621 South Dewey, Suite B. All right, Jackson Peters up to bat for Tyler Townsend, as Townsend has exited not only this game, but also the field, making his way to the hospital to get an x-ray on his elbow after a hard collision a couple innings ago with the outfield fence. Made a miraculous grab out there, collided with the fence, was able to get to the cutoff man at shortstop, and then fell to the floor, of course, clutching his elbow. So he's out of the game, and more importantly, making his way to the hospital to get checked out. So all the best to the senior Tyler Townsend. Up to pitch for Great Plains, for Scottsbluff. George Schmall in his 11 innings, a 1-0 record, an ERA that sits at 5.091, has Jackson Peters swinging and fouling one off on the first base side to make it 2-2 the count. So Peters checks in at left field. Of course, Tommy Haggard at right field for Mike McFadden. As next up is one Tommy Haggard. So 2-2 the count to Jackson Peters, as Schmall will step off, get reset back on the mound. 2-2 the count as he delivers the Peters. Fastball upstairs. There's ball 3. And this would be, again, if Schmall walks, Peters, a speedy man on the base pads. And, oy vey, that one at the letters and in for strike number 3, as down goes Peters looking. There's out number 1. Coach Holman, Peters not excited with how that call ended, as they thought it was outside, but they say it was in. Tommy Haggard now in for Mike McFadden to hit now for the first time against new pitcher George Schmall. Nobody on with 1 out here in this bottom of the 6th inning, as Haggard looked to apply the bunt, pulls back, and it's ball 1. As the 1-0. Nice off-speed. Finds its mark in for strike number 1. 1-1 the count now to 1 Tommy Haggard. Ty Hanneborg on deck with Caden Johnson in the hole, as Haggard reaches on 1. Grounder on over to the shortstop, Oscar Felix. Oh, almost beats the throw out, but Good throw from Felix to get the second out, and there goes second out of this inning. It's now for what could be the final time offensively for Ty Hanneborg tonight. He comes up to bat, having a conversation with Tommy Hager before he steps into the batter's box versus George Schmall. Time will be called, and now head coach Ricky Holm will go out and have a conversation with Coach Holm. 7-3 lead on our wicked fast scoreboard. Will be going to the top of the 7th next inning, which could potentially be the final half inning of offense for Scottsbluff. And, of course, for Coach Holm, probably a happy ending if he can have that inning come to an end quickly, just to not use another arm with Stifler close to 100 pitches. Schmall's first pitch to Hanneborg, popped up. First pitch swinging, up underneath it, gets the third baseman. And gloving it is Blake Grasmick, and that's how this inning comes to an end. A quick 1, 2, 3. We now go to said top of the 7th inning. Can Great Plains Health get out of this inning without giving up any more runs and come away with the victory? You'll have to find out when we come back. FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlatte-Post.com. Well, back here, Billwood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlatte-Post.com. We have a new pitcher on the mound for Great Plains Health, Post 163, Jackson Peters, taking over on the mound. 90 total pitches for Stifler today, 53 strikes to 37 balls on the day for Connor Stifler. So good outing from him, only giving up 3 runs on 7 hits. There were 3 errors on the infield for North Platte, but still an overall productive day for Connor Stifler. A better overall, I think, you'll probably see an overall better box score than what happened against Grand Island U-Save, though I don't really attribute to how crazy that game happened because of him. But because of that, here's Jackson Peters, who is now pitching for Great Plains Health, Post 163, as they look to get out of this game with a victory. Peters is in his 8 1/3 innings, a 2-2 record, has an ERA of 6.720, was given some time to warm up, and he now faces the statistically strongest part of the order for Scottsbluff, Eric Sabala, Oscar Felix, and George Schmall, 1, 2, 3 in the lineup. A 7-3 lead for Great Plains Health, though, as 2 pitches off the bat for Jackson Peters are down low in the dirt. Ball 1 and ball 2. 7 runs, 4 hits, 3 errors on our wicked fast scoreboard. 3 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors for Scottsbluff. That one lobbed out into center field. Great diving glove from Caden Johnson. The Gold Glove outfielder makes a fantastic grab. And there's out number 1. Nothing can get past him. As there's the first out of this inning, and up comes Oscar Felix. 1 and 2 today, singled in his first plate appearance, walked in his second, then reached on his fielder's choice in his third. Again, our game stats and player stats brought to you in part by State Farm agent Bobby Holst. perfect place to go for all your insurance needs is Felix. Big swing and miss on that pitch. George Small, the pitcher for Scottsbluff, relief pitcher up next, and Blake Grasmick in the hole. As Peters 0-1 pitch in Oscar Felix. Another one that's popped up out to right field as Tommy Haggard gets up underneath it. And guess what? There's 110 Hindenburg trying to steal my car keys with some pliers there. But 2 up, 2 down already here in this top of the 7th inning, just like our dreams are coming true. You know what they say? Dreams do come. Okay, well, that was not what I was thinking, but dreams do come alive. As here's George Small. Well, first batter up for him against Jackson Peters. He's 1 for 3 today. Reached on a fielder's choice in his first at-bat. Flew out in his second. Singled in his third. He's 1 for 3. As next pitch from Jackson Peters also into the dirt. For ball number 2. 2-0 the count with 2 outs here in this top of the 7th inning. A 7-3 lead for Great Plains Health Post 163. Peters winds up. Nice one at the knees for strike number 1. Jackson Peters. On deck, Blake Grasmick, Thatcher Thamala in the hole for Scottsbluff if we get there. With 2 down in this inning, a 2-1 count. As Jackson Peters, long stare down, now with his 2-1 pitch. Right there for strike 2. Beautiful pitching from Jackson Peters, 2-0, 2-2, with 2 down in this top of the 7th inning. Can he find that last pitch to end the inning? Here it comes. Shakes off a couple signs. Now finds the one he likes. Payoff 2-2. Grounder on over to Jacoby Silos. Takes a nasty bounce. He gets it. Throws to first. And that's a victory for North Platte. In control ever since they got the lead in the bottom of the 2nd inning. They now get back into the win column and push now to a 13-17 record compared to Scottsbluff, who's 12-14. Again, after giving up the 1 run in the top of the 1st inning, ever since then, they were just in firm control. Even though they gave up 2 in the top of the 5th, didn't falter them too much as they still held firm control of the lead and are now, in their last, I think, 6 games, 5-1. So, I was quick how to do the math. I'm not a mathematician. But after, again, talking to some of the players and Coach Holm after that Grand Island doubleheader, they were hoping to go into Monday's game. It was at the time against Alliance, undefeated. So that fortunately didn't happen, but have to say 5-1 after that stretch. That's some pretty good baseball, and I think Coach Holm's pretty happy because as we're getting close to the end of this season, you need to be playing your best set of baseball, and I think right now Great Plains Health is making a good case that this might be their best set of baseball in a couple of weeks. Can they continue that? No, into the next couple of days, because again, tomorrow they play Kearney, and then the winner of that game will be facing Hastings on Tuesday, and then if North Platte wins that one, then they'll be playing Grand Island on Thursday, so a never-ending, so see the confidence from 110 Hindenburg. But if they keep winning like they have been so far with great control from the pitching and great, really defensive stops, then I think we're going to be seeing a lot of those victories piling up before we get to districts. We'll, of course, step aside and take a break. We come back, quick stop post-game show right here, FM 98.1, AM 1410, the live streaming, NorthPlattePost.com. Welcome back here, Bill Wood Field, FM 98.1, AM 1410, Great Plains Health. Post 163 cap off their fun weekend. Well, yeah, fun is maybe not the word you want to say after yesterday, but really good last stretch of 6 games with a victory, taking down the West Coast Zephyrs of Scottsbluff 7-4 on our wicked fast scoreboard. 7 runs on 4 hits, 3 errors for Great Plains Health. They did leave 4 men left stranded on the base pads. Compared to Scottsbluff, came across with 3 runs on 7 hits, 3 errors on their side. They had 8 men left stranded for the West Coast Zephyrs. And holistically, of course, if you exclude what happened yesterday for Great Plains Health, you'd probably say a pretty proud and great weekend for them as a whole. You know, I talked to a lot of the guys, Coach Holm, Caden Johnson, Landon Greeno, all about how they wanted to approach this upcoming week of baseball after that Grand Island U-Save series. They took down, of course, Columbus in a 2-game series, 4-3 and 8-6 in their first 2 games. Yes, they did lose to Broken Bow 5-4 in their game yesterday against Broken Bow. And then, of course, come away with the victory here 7-3, so they're 5-1 in their last 6 games, which I think is exactly what Coach was looking for when it came to this moment in time exactly, because, you know, you're getting closer and closer to the end of the season, and everybody is looking to find, you know, or plant themselves as the best team and really find the best way to keep getting victories. Oh gosh, you bring the whole gaggle of men up here? Oh, we brought the whole gaggle up here, so I love that one. Coach, I first want to start off with, I know you probably don't have the update on that situation, but of course Tyler Townsend left the game early, well not late, but middle of the game after running in with the wall. First off, great grab by him, but you hate to have that end the way it did with his, looks like an elbow injury. I know you probably don't have any updates right now, but after a quick little glance, how do you think it came down from?
Yeah, first observation from Tom, our trainer, doesn't sound good. He was going to go to the ER and get an x-ray, so probably find out later tonight at least some of the extent to his injury. Just feel absolutely horrible for him. You know, he's been starting to put together some good at-bats and playing good in the field, and I mean, you could just tell he was absolutely crushed in the dugout. So going to be big for, you know, us as a team and his family to pick him up and make sure that, you know, no matter how it shakes out, that he's not alone in this. But yeah, I can't help but feel for the kid. You know, he's one of those that'll go out there and put his body on the line for the team, and no questions asked, you know, and risk injury. So hopefully we get some good news. But either way, we're going to have his back, and understanding that, you know, nobody outside our dugout is going to feel sorry for us. So as much as it hurts the team, you know, it's kind of going to be next man up here as we move forward.
Yeah, and with those types of injuries, you know, they can always go 2 different ways, especially in a certain game. It can either be a crushing loss and then all kind of fall apart because your mind's just kind of out of it. But as you said, you still had that workman mentality, you know, next man up, and really didn't look like it was still, well, it looked like it was still just business as usual as you come out with that 7-3 lead. And I think the main key for this game, outside of maybe one inning where there was a couple men left stranded, really took advantage of having runners in scoring position and capitalizing on those opportunities that you had tonight against Scottsbluff. Which a team, again, not a team, the team normally that in the past used to be a pretty, I hate to say free victory, but a victory you can kind of circle in to help push your record, but this year a completely different squad as they've normally been in prior years record-wise.
Yeah, once we were on base, I thought we ran the bases well and really forced them to play catch. That's usually been our strategy, you know, whether it's a good team or a bad team, it's just kind of varies on the level of how many times we're going to do it in a game. So definitely ran the bases well and executed a little bit there. But at the other flip side of that, we still only had 4 hits. We went 1 for 3 on suicide squeezes. And we know that, you know, that type of performance as we get deeper here and into the playoffs, that's going to come back to bite us. And it may not be any one game. It may not be any one team. But understanding, you know, it sound like a broken record, but I'd rather learn lessons when we're winning than when we're losing, especially after a tough loss yesterday, to be able to get back to the yard today and lock in and kind of settle in and understand that, obviously we would have liked to have had that winning streak continue here as we move deeper on. But all the goals that we want to attain are still right in front of our face. So going to get back to work tomorrow. Got Kearney. They're going to be, probably have a chip on their shoulder for this last game. And really for the last 4 or 5 years that we've been playing them, we've just kind of, the ball's kind of bounced our way against them, but understanding that they're a team that can make us look silly if we don't come and play our game and take them serious. So, like the win, like the energy in the dugout in the pregame. Thought we were definitely more locked in than we were yesterday, but also understanding that we got some things that we want to work on if we're going to accomplish some of those goals we want to.
Yep, and I asked a couple of the guys last week about what the goal was coming, at the end of, at this time, that the long stretch of games you had before you now add on a couple more games potentially to the end of it, and they all said 6-0. So you of course didn't get to that 6-0 mark, but 5-1 in that 6-game stretch, pretty impressive. How overall pleased have you been, of course, with how the team's been playing, of course, with districts not this week, but next week, and really quickly approaching before you know it?
Yeah, I mean, we all wanted to go 6-0. I think if you would have told me, if you guaranteed me we went 5-1 in these games, I would have taken it. Now, taking a step back and looking how we played in some of those wins and how we played in that loss, I think it's a little luckier 5-1 than maybe we should have had. But we played Columbus well. They're a good quality opponent who's split with GI this year. Shotkoski, their pitcher, is one of my favorite pitchers. He's kind of like a Jack Polk light. He's got 3 pitches. He throws for strikes. He controls a running game. He's smart. Takes away those hitters' counts. So it's good for our guys to see that type of pitching here as we move deep into the playoffs. But, it could get a little hairy here these next couple days if we go and beat Kearney tomorrow. Makes it kind of awkward because then we need that makeup game versus Hastings.
Yep.
So don't necessarily know where it's going to take place or if it's going to take place or when it's going to take place. But, I let our board president know to let those guys know that we'll go and we'll compete anywhere. So if we got to go play them in GI, if we got to go play in Hastings, screw it. We can go play them in Centennial. It doesn't matter where we're playing. We know that if we play our game that we're confident against any of those teams. And when we get into districts, those are going to be the teams that you're going to have to go through if you want to be there standing there at the end and in that dog pile and getting that water jug dumped on me. And that's something that motivates me and motivates our guys. So we're not going to run away from a fight. We're not going to run away from the competition. We know that those teams don't want to play us as much as we don't want to play them. But when we come and lace them up and get out there and just kind of roll the balls where they go, I like our guys' odds.
Yeah, and that could be not only an exciting situation, but also probably for you as a strategist, probably the most stressful situation, because if you do make it all the way to that Grand Island game, you get about maybe a day's rest at the best before you travel to Kearney for the Kearney tournament that goes on, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, as you said, a great opportunity, but does it kind of stress you out just a smidge that if you do make it that far, you will be probably struggling to find maybe a couple, I hate to see the bottom of the barrel, but really starting to manage your arms going into that last tournament of the year?
Yeah, from a strategy standpoint, it's kind of tough because, you want to throw guys against them to see if they're going to be successful against them or not, versus I think they're already going to be successful against them and don't need to throw them against them.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to win every game, Kearney, Hastings, and GI mean more to me than Millard North, Millard South, and those teams that we're going to be playing on the weekend. So if we have an opportunity to win this weekend, we're going to throw everybody. And if we have to have Tommy Haggart start on Friday versus Colorado, we'll have Tommy Haggart start on Friday versus Colorado. So we're going to throw everything out on the table. Those are the teams that we want to beat. Those are our rivals. And, yeah, as much as I'd like to win those games this weekend, that's a good problem to have if we got to that game versus Grand Island and had to use all our pitching.
I'd love to hear, so I'm expecting, but hoping for a 3-0 from what I've been hearing from you. For those 3-0, yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
That's the plan. I mean, obviously you got to go 1-0 first. So
that's true.
Tomorrow, I mean, we're going to throw the kitchen sink at them. Anybody that's eligible to pitch is going to be hot. Easton Geisler's looked really good his last couple outings, so he's going to get an opportunity to start and go out there and kind of pound the zone. And then another senior, Caden Jonason, will probably be up in the pen. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, I mean, then you start talking about potentially Greeno, potentially Jones, some of those guys. So we'll kind of see how it goes. There's a lot can happen between now and then. But I think our guys know. I don't need to ask them, but if I told them, hey, what's more important, these games are the one on the weekend, I know what the answer is going to be, and it's the same for me. So going to try our best to go out there, go 1-0 tomorrow, let the chips fall where they may, and then kind of see what happens from there. But in the end, we want that good momentum versus those opponents that we're going to be playing in districts as we get into districts. So we're going to be playing every game like it's Game 7.
Perfect, Coach. Thank you so much, as always, for stopping on by. We bring up, man, the mythologist himself, One land in Greeno for, well, I can't say the final time at home because there's still potentially a couple of games left on the docket. Good win today. Again, as I said, coming off of this stretch of 6 games, 5-1. We talked last week. You wanted it to be 6-0. Still pretty proud and really encouraged overall with how the team's been playing going into this now more intense particular strip of baseball.
Yep. Yeah, we definitely have a challenge ahead of us. We just gotta put our heads down and fight the adversity and try to win.
When you hear Coach, talk about, well, what was going to be at the time Alliance on Monday now being Kearney, which then could lead into Hastings, which then could lead into Grand Island. How does your mind kind of work in that situation? Are you pretty pumped to know that, hey, we now get another chance to beat some of the top teams in our region? Or are you more thinking about, I'm going to say the long game towards district, but thinking about, okay, well, I got to make it through this game first before I can start thinking about those 3 games down the stretch?
Yeah, definitely thinking just one pitch at a time. Focus going day by day, going 1-0, and just trying to win.
As you all know, of course, you come from Kearney, and it was funny that you said that your favorite memory was putting that squeeze bunt down against Kearney all that time ago, and I'm not going to lie, man, it felt like yesterday. It just felt like yesterday that moment happened in time. Really take me through, of course, as a senior, what it's been like here in North Platte, and what has made this team kind of feel like your second home for these 3 years of your time here.
Got a really good group together. Really good guys, friendly guys. Definitely all competitive in their own way, and try to do their job and what they can do to help us win.
Of course, you can't use your memory that you just used because that would be cheating. But if you had to choose a second favorite memory of your time on the team here, what would it be? And it doesn't have to pertain to what actually happened on the diamond. If something happened outside the diamond that you could consider one of your favorite memories, let it loose.
I think I gotta agree with some other guys. Definitely the win against GI in districts.
I agree. I can't disagree with that one. I mean, going to state is always a pleasure to have, and you know what? We're hoping this year make that 2 in a row for you guys. Glennon, as always, thank you so much. You're going to make me miss you, and I'm going to miss you I'm going to miss everybody here in Highwater, but I'll miss you as well. So here comes another, well, I can't say legend yet because you haven't left yet, so you're still here in the moment. But Caden Johnson joins me. I'll ask the same question. It'll be like a broken record over here. We talked last week. You were hoping for that 6-0 record in these last 6 games. You did fall yesterday to Broken Bow. Really take me through this stretch and what has really impressed you about how the team has been playing so far.
I'd just say our mindset, the way we show up to the games. I know it didn't go our way yesterday, but we really want to win these games. We're coming out here giving our best shot. And
you can really tell, even after yesterday, which was probably a very frustrating loss, couldn't really tell on the diamond today that was all affecting you guys. Still played like it was just another day in the office, but I think it's super important because, as we said, next 3 days could potentially be some of the most intense baseball you guys have been playing because not only going to be playing Kearney, you potentially could be playing Hastings. Well, you'll be playing Hastings at some point, and then maybe Grand Island on Wednesday. So that's a pretty brutal stretch of 3 games after an already brutal stretch of 6 games. So what are you personally taking into account here now to make sure that not only are you prepared and ready to rock and roll for those games, but also make sure that the team is still rock solid locked in for these upcoming games?
Well, I just say we're gonna have to beat these guys anyway, so we might as well get one more crack at it before districts and go out there and just leave it
do
all
it again.
out
I was
there.
gonna say, do it all again.
Do it again.
If you could beat them here, you could beat them there. You already beat Kearney once this season. Really, what do you think is the key to your guys' success against Kearney? Because it's so funny because you guys beat Kearney, but then struggle to find those victory against Grand Island, and then beat the brakes sometimes off of Hastings. So, what do you think is your guys' upper advantage against a squad like Kearney?
Definitely making them throw the ball around, running the bases good, and just hitting the ball. I mean, we struggled a little bit, but we got to hit the ball tomorrow for sure.
How important do you think it is that this game's going to be a home game for you guys instead of actually going out to Patriot Park and playing on their terms?
Really important. I mean, there's been a lot of fans out here, so it's been really nice to see a lot of people here supporting us. It's really nice.
That's what you love to hear, and it's always good to see all the people come out here. You can't use your favorite memory that you used out there. That's just cheating, but I think it's a pretty odds-on and best going to state. But if you had to choose another moment in your time here, not only with the Legion team, but also with the newly formed, of course, high school team, what would you say has been your favorite moment so far?
I just have to say probably just all the tournaments with the guys, hanging out in the hotels, just having fun, doing things on the weekends. So that's what I'd have to say.
It's going to be tough to trade that. I mean, you're going to – I hate to say go do the same thing out in college. You're going to take that next step forward. But is it going to be kind of a little bit missed when you have to travel out all the way to Arizona?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to miss these guys for sure.
That just means you have to come back, right? I'd
Yeah.
be disappointed if you didn't come back.
Yeah, I'll be back for
All
sure.
right, you love to hear that. Joni, thank you so much, as
Thank you.
always, for stopping on by. Next up on the docket, Mr. Easton Geisler. It's good to see you. I don't think we've actually had a conversation before.
Yeah, I think it's my first time up
That,
here.
there's a first for everything, and I hate that it has to be is probably one of your last remaining games part of this team, but really been impressed with, how this back half has not only gone for this team, really taking a nice in his last 6 games, good couple of steps forward, but you have also been taking that stride as well, really starting to I hate to say pitch in the right direction, but really start to put your best foot forward. Has there really been any type of shift in terms of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis to really be getting locked in towards the end of the season? Or you just feel that's been the natural growth of how the season for you personally has come?
I think this season I've just been confident. I think that's what I've struggled with in the past is not having confidence up there and just knowing that I can beat any guys with my stuff that I have.
And really, the last couple of pitching performances and, heck, even hitting performances, you've really done a fantastic job. And I think what's been really encouraging has just been how patient you've been at the plate. How does it's such a wide open question. How do you stay patient out on the diamond? Because it's such a hectic, fast paced sport. At sometimes you always wonder how can one be so patient when the ball's coming at you so quickly. So what really has been your mindset going into at bats so that you do stay calm and know which is the best outcome for you?
I mean, you really just have to take the game one pitch at a time. I know everybody says that, but it's true when you get out here and are playing a lot of games in a season. You just got to take it one pitch at a time.
So as I said, 5-1 in your last 6 games. Of course, everybody would love to have gone 6-0. What do you think has been the most encouraging aspect that this team has been playing right now? Because, yes, you still got a couple more games to go before you hit districts, but I really think you guys are hitting your stride at the right time. So in your mind, what has been the best reason you guys have been playing so well here down the stretch?
I think we've just been showing up with good energy every day. Everyone wanting to help the team out and do what they can for the team so that we can win.
Yeah, of course, it never gets any easier.
No.
We're all excited for Alliance because you can maybe sit there and be like, oh, we get a little bit of a break after that, but potentially on to 3 of the toughest teams you'll face in districts, as always, Kearney, Hastings, and potentially Grand Island. So really take me through what your mindset's going to be tonight when you go to bed so that you're ready tomorrow to go against that Kearney squad, which is always, no matter what year, what day they're playing, probably one of the toughest teams in the division.
I think I just got to stay confident. I closed them out in Kearney a week ago, and they couldn't really touch my stuff, so I'm just going to go out there with that mindset that they can't beat me up there.
That's what I love to hear. Well, I'm excited to see you tomorrow pitch, and you know what? Can't wait to see you guys in districts once again. Easton, as always, thank you so much for stopping on by, and now guess what? Bringing him up here. First time that he gets up here, and it sucks because it's the 1 year we have him here. Mike McFadden joins me. Mike, it sucks at the same time because it's your first year here. We really wish we could have had you for a long time. What has it been like in your lone season here with North Platte? Of course, coming in over from Lexington's team. Really take me through. First off, it's a pretty tough trek going from there to here every day. But what has it been like getting acclimated to this team, but also getting acclimated to the guys here on the field?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely different. I played with Lex in the past, obviously. I love Lex, but they're not as competitive as they are over here. I've played prospect ball before. They're more competitive, but it's not a family. It took me some time to kind of adjust and settle in with this team because they're competitive and they're a family. So, but yeah, I love it here. If I didn't, I wouldn't put driving out.
I was going to say, if you didn't love it, you probably wouldn't be totally coming out here every single day. But it's good to see that all that hard work pay off. You get a big hit today, on senior night, leading off, which I got to tell you is probably the most stressful situation. Were you stressed out there at the batter's box, knowing that was not only were you leading off, but you're also here on senior night leading off?
Yeah, well, I've been kind of eager to show what I could do. in North Platte, so I was pretty excited to hear I was leading off today, and I kind of just took advantage of it.
And that's what I think has made this team so special is the opportunities some of the younger guys and even newer guys get. Of course, you've been trying to work your way up, not only getting acclimated with the team, but also, as you said, show off what you got. And in an opportunity where you were given that opportunity, you came away with the hit that really showed, Ken, what you can do here. And I'm going to say it again. Gosh, I wish you were here for a couple more of these years because we'd love to have seen you just continue to grow with this team and become acclimated with it. Now, of course, to ask the question for everybody else, so I sound like a broken record at this point. 5-1 over the last 6 games. Really take me through what has been the difference in this winning streak that you have felt made this team be as successful as it has been.
Right, so these guys showing up every day, I could really see the versatility in this team. I think you can call any one of these guys utility players. They could play every position on the field. They grew up playing baseball. They know what they're doing, and kind of just trusting in them is kind of what's given us that confidence.
Now you got Kearney tomorrow, everyone's old rival foe, and wow, you guys have had the upper hand against Kearney, which again is just crazy when you look at stats combined because you'll look really great against Kearney, then for some reason struggle against Grand Island, and then beat the brakes sometimes off of Hastings. So it's a weird triangle of who wins versus who, but in your mind, what do you think needs to be the main focal point for this team tomorrow to come away, not only with the victory against Kearney, but to help advance them through these next couple of days of tough opponents?
Momentum helps, definitely. I think this win today will carry on tomorrow. I would just say, again, just trust in what we could do. We come here, practice every day, trust the process. We come here for a reason, and we've done it before, so just stay confident and believe and trust in what we could do.
Perfect. Well, I trust you, Mike, so I'm ready to see that all tomorrow. Thank you so much for stopping on by. I'm going to miss you, and I hope to actually see you even more when I see you in a couple of days for more games and, of course, districts. And, I hate to say we can't leave the best for last, but we leave the man who has probably had the most roller coaster of Legion careers that I've been a part of in my very short time. And first off, we didn't have Ogallala on the schedule, so that was a great thing to cheer for as Easton Jones joins us. And the reason I say that is every time Ogallala has been on the schedule, poor Easton's knees have just had a weird fascination with just dying on that very set day. But, man, coming back this season, for the last season, you had that injury towards the end of the basketball season that kept you primarily out of the high school season. How absolutely grueling was that to sit on the sideline for the majority of that season?
Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. I mean, I don't know if many people can respond and do the things that I've been able to do, and I can say that pretty confidently, especially being a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid. I mean, that's a lot to deal with for that young of a kid. But everything happens for a reason. So it was unfortunate that I couldn't go represent the high school in my favorite and my best sport. But I took it as I'm here for a reason. So I was just helping out the young guys again. I mean, I've done that before, and I just learned from sitting on the bucket. Like me and Coach Holma said, like those 2 years or however long it's been, not being able to play. I mean, I grew so much as a player there. I mean, without those 2 years, without sitting on the bucket and watching everything that's supposed to happen in certain situations, I mean, I wouldn't be the player I am today. So, yeah, it sucked, but, I mean, it's definitely a good part of my journey, and that's the reason I'm the player I am.
Yeah, and of course, that's what makes you so amazing is that, after that second knee injury, I think, your second season at the Legion level, a lot of people would have been, all right, well, I'm just going to, that's the sign that I should call her quits. But you kept pulling through no matter what was thrown your way. Not only did you keep pulling through it, but you also, as you said, learned from it. And I think that's something that a lot of people just kind of miss in the aspect of sports is just because you're sitting on the bucket and you're, waltzing around in the dugout doesn't mean that you aren't learning or taking advantage. I would presume you'd probably prefer to still learn out on the field rather than learn on the sideline. But do you think people kind of take for granted how much you can learn on the sideline if you're not in a position to be able to play frequently?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like one of the years, Easton Geiser was even with me. And me and him were just sitting there with actually Coach Kuhlman because he has been through the same thing with an injury. So we would just be sitting there picking other teams' signs. I mean, picking up just little things like that you can learn from the game and help you so much as a player. So I mean, if anything, hopefully no one ever has to go through anything that can keep you from playing your sport. But if it does, I mean, you got to look at the pros and cons of it. I mean, you can gain so much in such little time from just sitting there and watching. And that's the cool thing about baseball, I think. I mean, you don't have to play to learn the game. So.
And I think yes, and we can clearly, of course, see that with how this American Legion season has gone. It's really not just for you personally on a statistical level, for the team. You can see a lot of those guys that didn't get too much time at the high school level coming here and are really doing a fantastic job and taking that next step forward. Of course, I wish you were here all these years, not injured, so we can see where you started from to where you ended. But, as I asked everybody else, 5-1 in this stretch of 6 games, what really has been the difference maker in this section of this season to really show that good growth? Because going into that section, it was a tough outing at the CWS tournament, but that's probably where some of the best teams come to play at. So going from those games to then bouncing back to a really good 5-1 stretch, what has really been the difference, in this stretch compared to the others?
Yeah, I've been saying it a lot. I mean, this season feels almost identical to last season. Like we started off like about 500. If we lost to some teams we should stand no business in losing to. But then after this, like CWS last year, we went, I think, 1-5, and then right after that, I mean, we said it's go time.
Yeah.
We flipped the switch, and so we hoped for didn't want that to be the case this year, but we were sitting there at the CWS, and we were competing in those last couple of days and losing games in 9 innings and just losing teams that we figured we should be beating.
Yeah.
And so we got back here that Kearney when we all were like, all right, let's go. Like, it's a new season. I mean, when we play like how we know we can, I mean, really, we can beat anybody.
Yeah,
So-
you've seen it. Of course, as I said, that Kearney win right there was a main example. That team is, if you talk to so many people around, not just this area, but in the baseball world, Kearney's another great team, blah, 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 they're going to be great. But you handed it to them in that night. And same thing goes to some of the other. The Hastings, even though you lost in one of the Hastings games, you show them, as always, if you play the game your way, you can hold these teams out and show who's the better of them. That just then makes these next potential couple of days even more interesting because you get to play them again. So what is your mindset going into tomorrow's game? Because, of course, if you win, then you'll probably play another game. And then if you win that one, then you're probably potentially even playing another game against Grand Island. So how are you approaching these next couple of days, which then will, of course, crazy enough, lead into the last tournament of the season?
Yeah, a couple of the guys have said it, and I 100% agree with it. We just got to take it one day at a time because, obviously, if we don't beat Kearney tomorrow, then there's no Hastings. And if there's no Hastings, there's no Grand Island. So we just got to come in here tomorrow with the confidence that we've been playing with. Like, we got to know that Kearney really don't want to see us because with how we've been playing against them, I mean, honestly, my whole career, all the 5 years, I mean, even when I've not been playing, we've been beating them.
That's the one, it's so funny if you look at just the ultimate triangle of the teams that you play in the district. It's such a weird scope of who's beating who and who's losing to who. It just really makes no sense of how that's possible in the winning percentages. But yes, Kearney, when they probably see your name pop up, specifically going on the road here, which has not been their strong suits these last 4 or 5 years, it's probably not they probably, as you said, definitely don't want to be here.
Yeah, like you said, that little triangle thing of everybody beating everybody, it's a weird thing, but I think that's what makes district so fun is because it's everybody's game. And so that's what we like about it too. Like, we know that no one wants to see us in the first round because we're a really, really tough draw, but we also know that we don't want to have to run into Scottsbluff in round 1, who's way better than they usually have been.
Yeah.
Or even GIB. I mean, the district's probably the best it's been in a while this year as far as top to bottom, so we got to play just confidence together and see what we can make happen.
Has that helped you, that teams like Scottsbluff and Grand Island B are as more competitive as they normally been? Because we always like to talk about in terms of hypothetical wins and losses. Those games are always clear circles of easy victories. But now that they become more competitive, does that really, I hate to say force you guys, but make you guys really maybe focus in a little more even on these games that aren't just going to be we'll get 10 runs in the first 2 innings and wipe our hands for the rest of them?
Yeah, 100%. It makes us show up to the field ready to go a little more. I mean, we should always do that, but
it's just it's just a natural instinct.
Our group, I mean, sometimes we just look at our opponent and we're like, all right, I mean, we don't have to bring the same level as we would versus Hastings and GI, and that's hurt us both. I mean, both the games we did that, we somehow lost them. So, yeah, it's good to see those two teams be a lot more competitive than they usually are. I mean, it's always good to play the best teams of the best. I mean, that's what I like anyways. I like to play the top dogs and not people who are on the lower level, but Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and trust me, that's just every sports. Every you look in the NBA and you look at teams versus, well, hate to be that guy as a Rockies fan right now.
Yeah,
Anybody
sure.
who walks into Colorado is just like, oh, there you go. I'm just get through 2 innings, call her a day. But as I asked everybody else, of course, everyone's favorite memory, probably my favorite memory, going to state last year. But outside of that, what was your favorite memory in your time here?
Man, it's been a
I know it's probably a lot of them.
time. I would say last year when we were down in that Kearney tournament, when we were playing our best baseball that we've been playing, and we were down 9-0 to Miller South in the 3rd inning, and everyone's in the dugout, and no one's worried. We're like, all right, let's just go do it. And we ended up scoring 10, and not all in one inning, obviously, but we ended up walking them off
over the
10-9.
court. Yeah, it was the craziest comeback
So
I
that
have
was pretty
seen.
cool. And if it's not that one, I mean, I'd have to go back to that Ogallala moment 100%.
That's my boy.
That was really special. I mean, everyone who was there knows that was one of the coolest in just the game of baseball. I mean, the baseball gods, God himself. I mean, that was a pretty special moment for sure.
So you took the words right out of my mouth, because I was going to say my favorite moment with you around was that Ogallala game. If you don't remember, of course, Easton had his knee injury that put him out for the whole season. I think it was the day before you were actually going to go have surgery. Coach gave you the opportunity for one last plate appearance, and what he does with it is knock it out of the park. And, I mean, that was the craziest, I think, moment of my time at that moment, because just to see, of course, what you've gone through, it's a knee injury like that, being out for the season with how hard you've worked and how close you've gotten with the team, to then one last hurrah moment to hit a home run to kind of just like a kiss and peace out. Don't see it for a while. Was such a treat, and I'm so excited because I hope you do that to Kearney tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That would be nice. That'd be very nice. You already got 1 on the season. Can you make it? Can you make it 2 before the end of the year?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get a couple more, but my biggest problem is I can't think about it, because if I think about it, then that opens up my swing, and that makes me the biggest problem with me sometimes is the only way pitchers can beat me is when I come out of my approach and get a little too antsy. So I just really got to stay calm and just get my hands to the baseball nice and slow and let the bat do the work and not try to do too much with it.
And I totally, and you brought that up, and I totally agree. This season has really been a very much better, consistent approach that you've had to the plate, because there's been some games, I think, last year in the high school season where it just felt like, as you said, you're getting kind of pushing a little bit, and you would make some decisions on your swing that was just out of character. And if you look at your statistics this season compared to last season, you just felt this has been a more well-rounded approach, which has greatly helped not only your stats, but really helped the team as a whole. Because in moments where the game, I hate to say on the line, but a big hit is needed, we can trust in you because we know that your approach is never going to falter, which means at that point you're going to get a hit coming that way. So that's what I want to see more of tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday and on the weekend and into districts as always.
Let's do it.
Easton, as always, thank you so
Appreciate
much
it,
for
Paxton.
stopping on by. Those are all the seniors. TJ want to get? You want to see your senior? There you go. He said he was a senior citizen. I didn't want to be mean to him, but I can't agree. I don't see the gray hairs yet, so you're okay. I'm not looking down there. I'm just covering your face up. But another strong victory for Great Plains Celtics. They take down Scottsbluff 7-3. They'll be back in action tomorrow, and if they win that game, they'll be back in action on Tuesday against Hastings. And then if they win that game, then they'll be back in action on Wednesday against Grand Island, in or here. Okay, we'll be in Grand Island, so there goes the illusion on that one. And then they'll be in the Kearney tournament Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So a lot of baseball ahead of us. And, of course, you can always listen to that right here on FM 98.1, AM 1410, and live streaming NorthPlatte.com. That'll do it for us. We'll see you all in the near future right here, FM 98.1 and AM 1410.